And we are live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicenda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy in the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire here on Plus One EXP is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. And we do that in a lot of different ways, but the most fun way is sitting down with those creators to play those games, which is exactly what we're doing today with Outer Rim Uprising, which is I could call it an anthology, but it is more properly a collection of amazing things that have been gathered together by Eco and the team over at Lost Bay. There's a lot of different people who have their hands in this. To talk about that, Eco, I'm going to hand things over to you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do? Tell us a little bit about how this entire project came together.
Yeah, sure. So hi, super stoked to be here on the channel. I'm Eco, he, they pronouns. I'm indie designer and publisher of tabletop thingies. And I've started a small publishing house almost 1 year ago. And I mean, one thing I really love about like RPG culture in general is like interfacing with other people. So quite quickly, yeah, I found that working on bundles was a cool thing to do for me because yeah, I love like teamwork and discovering how other creators work, etc. So we released I keep saying we, like I'm a big company, but it's mostly myself. So but we released like 5 6 bundles in 1 year, mostly re-edition of stuff that had been released in PDF that we curated, made like deluxe printed editions, thematic bundles. And yeah, like then I wanted, I had like a big drive to do something in the sci-fi horror mothership scene. And I'm not sure how this started. Like in January, I started reaching out to designers and saying, hey, do you want to work on a big bundle with a mothership bundle with a like a background rebellion theme, and make something 100% original, not traditions, but like just let's craft a bunch of items for that bundle connected together. Let's make it like a jam, a huge jam where a bunch of cool designers are gonna work together, cross-pollinate ideas, and grow their both the bundle and their own like personal creations, and it kind of blew from there. I just had the chance to to work with like amazing people, and yeah,
Yeah,
that's trying to tell that in a very short time frame. So I don't
no,
know if that
that's great.
works.
You've got some of our favorite folks working on the project. People who are part of our community who we've had here on stream. People whose work that we love. We're big
That's
fans
true.
of what Mothership does. Also, too, just with its third-party creative license, the way it helps creators get their work out there, get their stuff into print, get their stuff up into the community, but while still maintaining a good amount of oversight. So we're huge fans, and I love seeing projects like this come together. It's doing really well right now. You've got a good amount of funding. You've already
Yeah.
funded. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
But tell us a little bit more about. Actually, I'm going to come back to you in just a second. I do want to hear from you. What is, I always feel a little unfair asking people like, hey, what's your favorite thing in the bundle? But what's something in the bundle that maybe surprised you or got you excited? Let's meet some of the other folks who are here. I'm going to come back to you, talk to you a little bit more about that.
Yeah, sure.
And we'll chat a little bit more as we go and see if anybody else has any questions also too. But whipping around, let's go first to Keegan. Keegan, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online if you want to be found?
Yeah, hi, I'm Keegan. You can find me online, I guess at Blue Sky now. I design games, and I'm partial owner of this company, which is weird. Hey, this is new information, stream.
Not to Keegan. Keegan's known about this information for a while. It went out in a press kit earlier today. Yeah, so with control of Plus One coming back into our hands from a great attempt at a merger that did not work. One of the things we did was have a conversation with Keegan and Sarah, who have been super committed through this entire process, have all their stuff here, and so had them come on as partial owners of the company, and very, very excited to do that, and very thankful for their contributions as friends and invested parties over the last year, because there was no financial exchange as part of this process. This is literally just acknowledging this is somebody whose voice I value so much. I want them to be a part of this. So super, super glad to have you both. Keegan now owns Capital. Yes. All of it. 51% of this company. That's great. I'm going to send you all the tax information.
Oh no, please don't.
So awesome. If you have any questions, we'll come back around to you. Peter, why don't you go next? Or Jimmy, or Peter, or Jimmy?
All fine. Yeah, I'm Peter. Peter Eijk. I write games on the internet, mostly known as Jimmy Shelter. So my stuff can be found on jimmyshelter.itch.io, on Twitter as Jimmy, on Blue Sky as Jimmy. And let's see, my latest thing, I'm just very proud of this. I just got the print proofs and I'm very happy with them. Ooh. This is my latest solo game, which I'm now noticing that actually bringing out the scene is a lot of work. So I'm mailing around to all fulfillment partners and printers and whatever, but really happy that it will be in people's hands soon.
If only there was an easier way for small creators to get their scenes into print and publication. If only there was. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We'll do that capitalism in a moment. Max, why don't you go next?
Yeah, I'm Max Lander. I make games. I also am a co-host of the RTFM podcast with Aaron motherfucking King. And hopefully in the not too distant future, I will be helping make more weird community game stuff happen up here in Canada.
Super excited about that also too. Yeah, Rumi Castle calling it out in the chat. RTFM is one of the definitive TTRPG podcasts. If you want to know a great episode to start with, go to ttrpg.link/RTFM loves GURPS. It's a great place to jump into the podcast. Number one episode for a really long time. Just got passed out. Would love to see it reclaim that number one spot. Thanks, Keegan, for getting that in the chat. We were only like 3 listens behind a little while ago. I'm sure that gap has spread. I'm very excited. Josh, our GM for today. Why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, where they can find you online?
Sure. My name is Josh Domansky. You can find me online, the various couple of handles, because I have no idea how to unify a brand. Most prominent is probably Unenthuser, which is unenthusiastic user smashed into one. That's on Twitter and Blue Sky. And if you want to find me on Discord, just go to the Lost Bays Discord server. We got a liminal horror channel there that I hang out on. It's easy enough to find me.
Cool.
As for what I do, I am, I guess, a writer and layout designer in the TTRPG scene, kind of a little bit of a lot of things, primarily in the adventure scene, as opposed to systems. However, most noteworthy for my work with, liminal horror, is a bit of a shill. Go check out The Bloom. It launches in about a week, I think, on Space Penguin, the physical version. However, you can also find me in the previous bundle from Lost Bay Studios, the Fear Bundle. I have a little adventure in there.
Cool.
Really
Love it.
cool.
Oh, and I'm a member of the Outer Rim Uprising team. I worked on some shit in there.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what projects you worked on in that, or I'll ask you the same. I'll come back to you in a second. What is the thing that you were most surprised by or that you're most excited about? Let's pop back up to Eco though. Eco, tell us, like I said, if it's hard to name a favorite, especially while everyone is watching you and hoping you say their thing.
Yeah.
What's one of the parts of this project that has been the most surprising to you? Maybe it's a piece of the content, a physical item y'all are producing, or something you're just really excited about in the bundle.
Yeah, sure. Two things. So first of all, I'm really super grateful and happy about the interaction, because was kind of a huge bet. I said, let's do our own, little jam, and I had never done anything like that. And seeing the amount of cross-pollination, unexpected collaborations, how ideas moved from one entry to the other one was quite amazing. And the amount of support between everybody in the team, that was a really grateful experience, honestly, really great. And about the bundle itself, and that kind of what I'm gonna say ties to that collective experience thing, and collective is a word I like to use a lot, I guess, is the campaign handbook. And this is a drawing for the campaign handbook, which kind of came late in the bundle project. We said we need maybe a little zine to kind of help tying and gluing the various entries that share parts of a theme, of a system, of a setting, NPCs, faction, and stuff. But we need something to push that one level up, and we started working collaboratively on the campaign handbook, and it kind of grew and blew. And I have to say, thanks a lot to Josh Domansky, which put a lot of ideas and into the campaign handbook. And I'm really blown away by the tool it's become. It's a great tool to quick start to campaigns in the Outer Rim, or even outside the Outer Rim. There's a lot of tools, frameworks, super useful. From a gaming perspective, that facilitate ease and that's such a cool item. Plus, it looks good because there's a lot of drawings by Evangeline Gallagher, and there's layouts by Jean Verne. So it's really great tool, great zine.
I've mentioned this before on stream recently, but Jean Verne, a name that has no reason to exist, living near Indianapolis, should be living on the bank of the Seine, editing laying out Mothership RPGs from there. Was not at all expected for the Midwest encounter I had at Gen Con with Jean. But no, love it. It is absolutely gorgeous. I popped it up on screen so everybody could see it. Absolutely wonderful art, phenomenal layout. That's a really cool piece to see come together so that people can take all these separate elements and kind of say, how do you want to put this into one central campaign or adventure? They're not right there, but they are definitely in the Midwest. They could be more Chicago bound, but I'd have to go back and look. Meat Castle. I also realized I started that statement and nobody else knew who I was talking to at the beginning of it. And so, the awesome Josh, how about you? What is the thing that has surprised you the most in kind of the evolution of this project?
The shill answer is the piece I'm working on, the campaign handbook. We can earmark that and we can talk about that a little bit later. I mean, Eco already kind of gave the down low, but we got some more details. But I get you. So the first is was it let me get this name right before I confidently say the wrong thing. It's the Hunger in Achernar is the official I guess way to pronounce that. This was an adventure that was put together by David Kenny, and I want to talk about this one because of sort of the pedigree it comes from. David Kenny has done a number of third-party mothership adventures. If I remember off the top of my head, Nirvana. There is Dying Hard on Hardlight Station, and the Cleaning of Prison Station Echo, I think was the third one. But just some super cool stuff, and having him involved in this project has been kind of cool to see it because I've run a few of those adventures in my home game before I started writing for mothership stuff anyway, and so it's kind of a nice I don't know, meet your heroes moment, I suppose. But the reason I want to talk about this one is because while the bundle itself is very much focused towards that rebellious sort of attitude, fighting against corporations and so on and so forth, this is one adventure that is like classic mothership. It's pure survive, solve, save. You go in and it's a horror situation. It's all nice and tied up with some of the other like rebellious and corporate activity within the region, but again, hidden on the roots. So we have this huge bundle. We got, I don't know, it's like 20 items. And you end up really getting like the gamut of tone and subject matter, depending on whose piece you pick up. But the second one I want to talk about is one that was worked on by Christian Sorrell and another contributor whose name has escaped me.
Near.
What was that?
Near.
There you go. Okay. It's but I think it's a Saboteur's Guide to Situs 2, I think is the title. And what this is it's a pair of trifold pamphlets. And one of my favorite formats is the trifold pamphlet. So you kind of got me sold just there in its beginning. But the idea is that these pamphlets are two different sides of like the same location or same event. One is this corporate's guide to the planet, in theory, or station, I don't remember which, but in theory, introducing like new employees and doing a whole orientation thing. And the second is the Saboteur's Guide. It's how to mess up the corporate's operations within that planet itself. So it's a nice like adventure as artifact type of deal, but also you get this dual purpose set of pamphlets there that are kind of cool. But I got to see some early work in progress drafts of that while working on the campaign handbook, so it's kind of seeing that come together has been fun too.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a thing that they eyeballed on the page or question that they want to ask Eco while we have them before we dive into play? Cool. Awesome. Ego, it's great to have you here. Really loved it. Really looking forward to it. I really appreciate your willingness to play tonight. And then your realization that you were in the middle of a major crowdfunding project, multiple time zones away, and that you may not have the energy for it, and calling that out. So we will have to sit down and play a game together another time. But I'm also glad you're able to make some time to be here with us on stream before we got started. There's so much cool stuff in this. I love that y'all messed around with you've got wire-bound books, you've got zines, you've got boxes with cards and boxes with other stuff. You've got dungeon synth soundtracks in there, cassette tapes, other stuff. The mix of form factor here, is really great. But you've also made, hey, here's just the digital content if you want it super affordably. Here is everything else, kind of true bundle fashion, even though you're using Kickstarter as a platform for it. So just really cool to see all the different ways people can access for this regardless of their means. And so Really excited to have you with us. We're going to take a short little break while I rearrange some things. We're going to let Egos sign off and then put everybody in the right spot. We're going to be back in just 1 minute to play. Josh, what are we playing today?
So I've called this adventure By the Light of a Dying Star to make it as long as possible. But in a quick sentence, it is a custom adventure that I put together based on pulling random bits of the bundle to kind of showcase that is possible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it. We'll be back in just a couple minutes to play.
Bye-bye.
If you're out there watching right now, we all decided we need drinks, and so we're going to go all get water. Everybody hydrate yourself. We'll be back in just 1 minute. Hey, folks, we will be back on with all of our beautiful faces in just 1 second. In the meantime, as we come back, I want to tell you about two important things. One is the next stream we have here on the channel. That's tomorrow. It's for Lovecraft-esque 2E. Lovecraft-esque is a game by Black Armada Games that came out a couple years ago, critically acclaimed. Everybody loved it, and they were like, "Hey, it'd be cooler if we made this a card-based storytelling game to make it a little bit easier to facilitate around a table." So we're going to be playing that new version that's going up on BackerKit very soon with Josh from over on Black Armada Games. Very excited to sit down and finally play this game. I have the original version, but have never had a chance to get it to the table. Super excited about that. Also, if you are new or a longtime viewer here on Plus One EXP, you know we love to feature emerging indie games. We love to help people get their games out into the world by helping people see them on actual plays, do short review videos, publish them ourselves. So we are launching a thing to make us and that whole process more sustainable. That's RPG Zine Club. It actually launched this week. We did a soft launch on Sunday at Big Bad Con. Figure out what wasn't working 100% right. Fixed it up and relaunched it on Thursday for everybody. Over the last 24 hours, we've had almost 50 people sign up, but not quite 50. We would love during the course of this stream to get it over the hill to 50. RPG Zine Club is basically a Zine of the Month subscription club where you will get sent zines that we curate for you. One story game and one adventure game every month. These are totally new titles, so they're going into print for the first time. Some of them may have had some form of digital release before, but we are relaying them out, oftentimes expanding them, looking at the content, producing them in beautiful zine form, and working with those creators to get their first prints out into the world. We have an incredible focus on emerging and expanding designers, people who maybe never have had a game in print, and people who are coming from diverse parts of the globe and diverse cultural experiences. Would love to have you invest in those creators with us, to invest in those emerging voices, to help create a more sustainable and easier way to get games into print. Josh was just talking about how hard it is to do Kickstarters. This is our attempt to work with these small creators, 24 of them a year, in order to help get their games into the hands of people without waiting months to do so, but printing them, funding them, and getting them out into the community. Every 50 new members to the club we have, we're going to make a cool announcement about something that's coming in the future. So our goal for the first week was 50. After the first 24 hours, we're almost at 50. So we're very excited about it. But this will also make things more sustainable for us here on Plus One EXP. If you like the streams that we do, if you like the content we create, if you like the support that we give the community, the best way that you can support us, in all honesty, is to sign up for Zine Club, because it takes all the things we want to be doing as a channel, and it puts them all in one place and lets us do that work the way that we want to be doing it, in a way that honors creators, that builds people up and helps get their games to your table. So if you have the ability to, we'd love you to go over there. If you don't have the ability to sign up right now, that's totally fine. We totally understand. If you could share it with people, go to your friendly local game store, because we have a retail level. Invite them to sign up for and get copies in every single month. So head over to rpgzine.club. But you didn't come here to hear me do a commerce. You came here to watch us play Mothership, and then go do a commerce at ttrpg.link/outerrimks. So that's what we're going to get started on right now. We've all introduced ourselves. We do use lines, veils, and the X card here on channel, as well as an open door policy. We went over lines and veils in advance, and I know we've had some. Josh, can you remind people what our lines and veils for the session are? Ha 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 ha.
All right, so hard lines on harm to children, harm to pets or domestic animals, harm to pregnant people, a hard line on any homophobia or transphobia, sexual assault or any sexual violence, and the use of slurs. There are veils on dental horror, drug abuse, graphic gore, that sort of, gratuitous gore is kind of how I think of that. And any racism, just general sexual content, and then sort of suicide and torture.
Cool. Awesome. We also have the X card in effect, which means if there's anything that comes up in play that any of us don't like, we can say or type X. At that point, we'll pause the game, identify what the issue is. You don't have to say why you don't like it, just that you don't like it. We'll pull it out. We'll move forward in a different direction. We can also update our lines and veils when we do that if needed. And then the open door policy is just the fact that we are going to eat, we are going to drink. We might have to step off screen for a second at any point in time because we're real people who do normal-ish people stuff. And so we're going to weirdos going to norm sometime also too. If you're out there and you're a weirdo, do normal weirdo stuff with us and take care of yourself. With that said, Josh, I'm going to switch you and Max's positions on screen just because I like having the GM in the middle, but y'all don't have to actually physically move. I'm gonna take care of it all. You sit back and enjoy it. I'm just gonna make it happen because it makes me satisfied in some way, shape, or form. But I'm gonna hand things over to you to take us into Outer Rim Uprising.
So I'm going to talk at you guys for a little while. Then I will give you a chance to introduce your characters to each other and the audience, and then we will dive into the adventure proper. First things first, in sort of a broad sense, this is, I've called this little adventure, like I mentioned before the break, it's By the Light of a Dying Star, but that's just kind of my silly little name that I put on it. In reality, it's a showcase for the Outer Rim Uprising campaign handbook. Now, Eco talked a little bit about this, before the break, about what exactly the campaign handbook is, but just to be a little bit more, descriptive and get down into it.
Sorry, one sec. There seems to be no audio coming from us today.
Josh, take us back into the game.
Oh Lord, am I starting that over?
You were going to talk to us for a little while, as Eco said, and you said this adventure is. That's good. We'll go from there. Yeah, start over. You're great.
Start over. Okay. This adventure is it's meant as a showcase of the Outer Rim Uprising campaign handbook. Like I said before the break, I titled it By the Light of a Dying Star, but that's sort of just my own little cheeky way to reference it. To get into a little bit more detail about the campaign handbook, this was, as Eco said, it was sort of like something that grew kind of exponentially as the project has gone on. I've been on this project since, God, I think February, but I know that work had begun as soon as the Fear bundle had sort of been not necessarily wrapped up, but at least pushed along far enough where they were printing it. So that was like the January, February time. And my early contribution was going to be this little trifold pamphlet. If there are Mothership fans, watching the stream or catching the VOD here, they might remember that Ian Newsom of Anodyne Printwork, I think is the Printware, is the current company, had put together this little pamphlet called The Third Sector, I believe, which was a framework to link a number of, at that time, third-party Mothership projects together into, in theory, a sandbox campaign. So I had read that and I was thinking, okay, we've got this idea for the Outer Rim. Let's do that. Make a little trifold. I had a couple of ideas about how to bring everything together, namely this mechanic that at the time and still now I was calling the corporate response. And so I'd started working on that. And we get to this point where I was probably halfway done with just a little tinkering that I was working on. And then Eco comes back and he's like, hey, we've got classes and we're going to talk about like planets and put together patches and trinkets and equipment and do it all in the zine. And so I was like, shit, we got to put these together, don't we? So we combined efforts. I went a little overboard. I think I wrote about 15 pages as opposed to the trifold. And the rest of it is sort of a combination of the rest of the writers contributing various bits and pieces. So in the campaign handbook itself, we've got, this introduction, which talks about various ways with which you can string the bundle elements together. We have the corporate response, which is... to be brief, it's sort of like how Monarch operates in Gradient Descent, where as you screw with corporations, eventually they're going to get mad and respond. So I built a little custom stress system based off of how stress works in Mothership, and as you do actions, things kind of build up to a head, and eventually they come after you. But we also have 4 new custom classes for this campaign that'll be included in the book, which we will be showcasing today with the various characters y'all are playing. And then there are trinkets, there's patches, there's equipment. We're doing backstories, which you can pull for your character. We've got lists of prominent locations to build your web in the Outer Rim, a list of the various corporations that are out here, and rebellious factions that you can kind of pit against each other and the corporations as you continue to move and play throughout the Rim. So for today's session, By the Light of a Dying Star, what I did was I wanted to showcase how this kind of comes together in a usable manner. So I did about a half hour worth of prep, reading some of the entries that are, in our current draft of the campaign handbook, and then pulling together a couple of additional elements and pieces that people have worked on that are going in the bundle. I don't want to spoil which pieces I pulled from at the start, because even kind of naming them kind of gives it away a little bit about what's going to happen. But at the end of this, if we have time, I'll kind of talk about what I have pulled from which part and how those all kind of combine together. But the idea being that this is a very short amount of prep using the tools that we have provided in order to run at least one session's worth of content and set up for many more.
Love it. I'm super excited to play. I also started my day at 4:30 a.m. this morning, and then I'm reading my character's backstory right now. I'm sorry, I got totally distracted and lost in it while you were talking. That sounds great. I think we've done everything we need to do. Why don't you take us into the game?
Okay. Now I got a little bit of a narrative introduction here to set the scene. Then again, I'll give you guys a chance to introduce your characters, and then we'll go from there. Quick question before I start this. Tony, are we planning for a mid-adventure break, or are we running straight through the
we love a mid-adventure break. No one here is going to complain about stopping for 5 minutes and then pitching Zine Club again and then keep on going. So
all right,
absolutely.
I'll find a moment.
Whatever makes sense for you. If you want a good moment of tension, go for it.
Okay. Now, like I said, this is By the Light of a Dying Star. You are rebels, insurgents, or just pissed off members of the Rim who banded together and to form your little group. How long you've been a crew is up to you guys to decide, whether that's you've just met or you've been doing this for a long time. But regardless, you at least know each other and you have been working together to some extent. And would you have it? You have a new mission. You've been contacted by the Light of the Interstellar Way. This is a faction that exists out in the Rim here that is known to your characters, at the very least by reputation. They are secretive. You know them as this, you can call it a cult, but this organization of similarly minded people who have wormed their way into various corporations to do what is a little bit unclear, just that they, in theory, have people positioned all over the Rim, some of these even in like high up executive positions, all to do something, but they have been known to help out other rebellious factions, so being contacted by them isn't the strangest. Now, you have been given some vague details from this organization here. They've apparently swiped some vital piece of information from one of the large mega corporations out in the Rim, Dyson Initiative, and they're willing to hand it over to you. No, you don't really know what this information is, but given the sort of pedigree and the secrecy surrounding it, it's probably going to be pretty good, or at least something that you can act on in a tangible manner in the future. Now, based on their communication, their representative has agreed to meet you at, and pardon my bad French, Les Trois Copains, I think is how you say it, which is this small little kind of restaurant establishment type of deal on the mining station of Alexandria 17. They're going to meet you for an information handoff. Now, the trouble is, you've got the date the handoff is going to happen. You have a vague time of when the representative is going to be there. However, the Light of the Interstellar Way is very insistent upon their secrecy. They have to be able to maintain these positions that they've kind of found themselves in. So security risks are a big deal. Now, on that note, you don't really know what your informant looks like. The information you have been given is that they will respond to the code phrase by the light of a dying star. Now, like I said, you have your code phrase, you have the vague idea of when they're going to arrive. You do know the location you're supposed to meet them at. But you need to be careful. If you hope to get any more further information from this organization or any help from them in the future, you need to ensure that they don't hate you, so do not expose their informant or spy or whatever you want to call them. And you can be sure that corporate interests are going to intersect this, and Dyson Initiative may be sending representatives. That's always a possibility. And then there is, the sector security that you need to worry about in general. Now, with that being said, let's introduce our crew. Now, for your characters, let's do names, pronouns. You can mention their class. If you aren't particularly clear about what they do, you can either ask questions during this time or kind of, talk about it openly. And then just like general aesthetic for your character, so we have a good idea what they look like. And anyone can go first.
Max, you want to go first?
Rude. Sure. Yes. Yeah, I am playing Margot, an Uber droid, which I guess they're all one of the new classes, but who I guess was a real shit and is now trying not to be a real shit. Has a unpleasant background as some kind of bad droid. And I think based entirely on the patch that they wear, which is a demon in a parka, I think in their attempt to blend in with humans, I think they're wearing like exactly what's in the patch. Like the patch is like at some point they found this patch and they were like, great, this is how humans dress. I'll do this thing. So it's just like always wearing a parka, kind of irregardless of temperature. Just always kind of overly puffy.
Do they have horns like the demon on the patch as well?
Yeah, just little like stuck on ones.
Okay, cool. I just needed to be
When I
sure.
was a teenager, you just like spirit gum them on, or probably it's some kind of like industrial glue in mothership terms. But that also tracks with me having a weird little makeup related trinket, so I'm into it.
I just read your character sheet. Cool. I am playing Rachel Warren. I am wearing a like it could be stylish if it didn't feel like it was trying a little bit too hard. Suit and tie, fairly well cut, but obviously trying to communicate that I am that I've got a pretty sharp edge to me, and that I'm tough in some way, shape, or form, but in a way that isn't necessarily immediately evident or physical. And have my portable computer terminal with me, along with a briefcase in my other hand, also too. Like you very much get the feel like here's somebody who's doing guerrilla improv but doesn't want you to know it when you see Rachel for the first time. I am somebody who oftentimes can be known sharing my opinion in public on the internet. This is what got me lost. I was like, did Keegan tell me I have to play this character just from a player character bleed standpoint, or because it was literally the only one left?
I'm going to be so honest. I didn't realize there were notes and descriptions at the bottom of the sheet until we started doing this.
That's what I 100% got lost reading during the intro. Is like, This just seems a little too close to home. So yeah, I'm playing the class Zeitgeist that has been made for this. So I'm something of a hacker / content creator, just like I am in real life, obviously hacker / content creator. And very, very excited. I look very frazzled and tired though at the same time. I think that's everything you need to know about Rachel at this point. Keegan.
Great. I'm playing Clarice Mata. She uses she/her pronouns. She is a saboteur. She is wearing a set of sort of like overalls, very Sigourney Weaver and Alien, but with like pads sort of stuck on them. She is a patch with a fang-studded alien maw, and she is a saboteur.
Love it. Peter?
I'm playing Jackson Atkins, he, him pronouns. He's a union rep. He, basically, he lost most of his friends and family thanks to the company. So he has nothing left to lose, but after a shortish, very bad time, he now is trying to do something about it. He is. I think he's probably the most normally dressed of these people, so probably he sticks out like a sore thumb. He has just a band T-shirt and some jeans and a patch of a Molotov cocktail, which might signal a bit too much to the man that he is not in it for the company, at least.
Nice. All right. Now, just to continue to shill some of the items here, I want to talk really quickly about the various classes that you guys are playing. One, so that we're all on the same page, and two, so the audience knows. Now, first, Margot, the Uber droid. The way that we described Uber droids, at least in the current draft, and again, these things might change as we continue to develop this campaign handbook, but the Uber droid is, generally speaking, they were starting as sort of the working Joe type androids, the ones that aren't necessarily mimicking, human facial structure or abilities, but at some point, they have rebelled against their original programming, whatever that may be, and have started to push towards sentience in some manner and wish to be seen as more human-like. So they're rebelling against their base programming in order to live effectively. Now, Zeitgeists, like we have Rachel here. A Zeitgeist is, the way I describe them is they're whistleblowers. They're sort of reporters or people who sneak into corporations to secretly film them and then spread that information throughout the galaxy to kind of damage their image. So they are the underground Lois Lane, the go-getters trying to get that information so that the public is well informed. For Jackson, the union rep, this is actually pretty self-explanatory. They are a union rep. Obviously, they, in theory... Oh, is my audio working?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. I lost something on my end. Oh.
Yeah, no, it's only a problem when I leave you muted. That's the only time your audio hasn't worked.
Oh, fair. Sorry, my mic gives me feedback and it just dropped for some reason. But... the union rep are, the people who work for the corporations in theory, but they focus on the interests of the workers. A lot of time, your union rep are going to be former union reps because they probably don't work for those companies anymore, given the kind of setup for your adventures in the Outer Rim. And then the saboteur, again, that's another very self-explanatory class. They are people who blow shit up. Typically, they're ones who sneak into various corporate locations. Whether they have been trained at these things or not is up to you and your character. But they get in there and they mess stuff up. They clip wires, reroute security cams, or just blow up ships and whatnot. And so those are our four classes. Do you guys have any questions before we continue?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, I have some questions for you. We're going to do some establishing questions just to kind of set our narrative up a little bit and talk about your relationships between your characters. I got 2 of them to start here. The first, how did you come together as a crew? And this is for anybody who wants to answer, or all of you.
Oh, that's a great question. He said out loud, filling the silence.
That is a really great question. I sort of like to believe that at some point we were all, I don't know, like potentially working for the same company.
I like the idea. I like that because I like the idea that we're all like, yeah, we're rebels, but have like no credentials. Like, just not like we're like, yeah, whatever. We're super good at stuff, and are actually just like a bunch of snotty, inexperienced youths, maybe olds in body, but of mind, youthful.
I like that. Did we all work in very separate parts of this and then get thrown together somehow? Was this like a megacorp that we all were parts of different subsidiaries for, and then ended up having to synergize on something and realizing we hated this megacorp?
I like that idea.
Josh, did you mention a company name in the introduction? I think.
The company that you guys are sneaking information from, or rather, that the Light of the Interstellar Way has snuck information from that they're handing to you, was called Dyson Initiative. But I got a whole list of other companies if you guys want one.
Oh yeah, pull us a random corpo.
Yeah, roll a dice or something.
Right. How about I just pull one that Eco wrote? I think this is one that Eco wrote. Yeah, well, we'll see. Oh God, this is a term I've never said out loud. Oh Jesus,
I'm so excited
Augeo
for it.
Lab, AUGEO Lab.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, they
I
are
pronounce
a.
it Augeo.
Yeah, okay, there you go. AGO. There we go. It is a young and aggressive biotech startup that's been growing at an insane rate, winning contracts with major corporations about the rim. Not a whole lot is known about them. They primarily sell a collection of cybernetic medical solutions that are used to both enhance workers and repair broken workers. But they have a wide variety of clientele, so that would actually make a lot of sense why you guys are grouped together.
Cool. We answered the first question.
Now, our second question, and this is important. What is your base of operations? Do you guys have a ship with which you use to travel to various locations and deal with rebellious activities? Or are you just kind of based on this, it's not even a planet, this asteroid of Alexandria 17?
Would our former company have some kind of office or factory here?
It would make sense at the minimum that they would have an outreach program. Like I said, they kind of deal with the cybernetic enhancements and repairs. Alexandria 17 is this asteroid mining station that people live in sort of like the mined out regions of the asteroid. So there is active work going on here and presumably in other asteroids in the area too.
Yeah.
So you could have an office there. That makes sense.
Yeah, or at least maybe one of us managed to get us transferred all here on some bogus job or something, so we could meet with the person we need to meet.
Keegan, please don't compare us to evil corporations in the chat. And by us, I mean you and I, and plus 20 XP, not our characters. I like that. I think with this crew and what we've laid out, I do feel like being mobile makes sense. So maybe some sort of very basic, like very light, small ship. Like it feels very much like these are the kind of people you would send in potentially to both demonstrate certain things, but also like make initial contact like with people in dangerous and out of the way places. Like this certainly isn't your A team, but this is like, hey, this is a difficult place to sell on getting our stuff in there, but could be profitable. We'll send the C team. It's not because they're bad, it's just that they're very expendable and new out to that. Feels good.
Yeah,
What's the sales
ship
reps?
version of a trash can droid? That's the ship that we're in.
Yeah. I'm getting a bit. I probably should not have put on my red shirt this morning.
Yeah.
All right, so you're still employed by the laboratory, is that correct?
I think it makes
think so.
sense. Yeah.
Okay, but you're doing this rebellious stuff on the DL on the slide.
On our days off.
Days off.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as I said, you found yourself on Alexandria 17. As I mentioned, this is the mining station here. This one has been in operation for a while. You can assume that this is like one of the larger asteroids that were in, it's either a belt or maybe surrounding a planet or so on. Doesn't really matter, but you can decide where you want to put this asteroid in your own campaigns.
I like how Josh says it doesn't matter, and that by the end of this, we will absolutely have made that piece of information matter.
It's a good thing I planned for that. So it's one of the older structures. This probably would have been a very small outpost back in the day and sort of organically grew as the asteroid itself was mined. People started building their habitations in there, and that in turn would attract more workers to come in there. And of course, there's the corporations. Now, technically, the mining rights to this station are owned by several different corps that each had some form of stake in this asteroid itself and the asteroid belt in general. Maybe that was logical back when it started, but at this point it's kind of meaningless, except for the fact that there is this conglomerate corp that owns the station that has a representative base here, and that representative has hired additional security to secure the asteroid, meaning bully people, but they brought in this mercenary crew, to be clear, I suppose, that's called Knuckles Co. And they are cops. They waltz around, they make a big show of it, and they beat people up when they are missing out on their contracts or trying to escape with debts to the various corporations. So with your time here, you've probably interacted with them in some manner, even if it has been short. Even at the very least, you've seen them waltzing around. And it's pretty clear that this is a company town. Now, one small exception, one tiny light of hope within the kind of depressing halls of this cramped station. It's a little restaurant. More of a food stand than proper restaurant. But God, Les Trois Copains. Gonna say it like a jackass every time.
And I'm just trying to figure out, is this like the three with bread? Is that what we're trying to say here?
The three amigos.
The three friends.
Okay, I was trying to figure out the last part of it and whether it was pan or pan, like what it was, but like the three companions.
This is why we,
the three companions is what we're hearing. Gotcha.
Yeah. So this is it's in the deeper levels of the asteroid station. It's known to the locals, so even if you haven't been here before, it's pretty easy to find with a couple of queries with various people on the streets. Doesn't look like much. On the inside is a handful of stools and a counter, a couple of booths. There's an old-fashioned gas stoves kind of popping in the background. It's loud in here. There's pop, hollow videos kind of playing all throughout. The big thing is it's open 24/7. serves neo-pilgrim food loaded with spices, as well as tank-grown pseudo-octopus soups, which are well, the locals will tell you it's a delicacy, but that's really up for you to decide. At the very least, it's not corporate slop. And they do pretty good for themselves. Now, you enter this establishment. Took a little bit to find, like I said, walking around the cramped halls, past vendor booths and other restaurants till you get to the outside. Now, this place is crowded as you enter. Like, there are a ton of people in here. Couple of spots where you can slide yourself. Maybe a booth is opening up as you enter, as another group leaves. And I'll talk about who you see in a moment, but we have another establishing question to paint the scene, so to speak. As you enter, and this is for all of you guys, as you enter, what is it about this place that gives you the impression that it's off the radar of the various corporations that own the asteroid?
The homemade like Faraday cage lining that blocks transmissions in and out except for through hard lines.
I think there is a sort of lack of, like, at least visible security cameras here, in a way that the company has historically liked the security to also sort of be theater.
I guess we can also see that this is like one of the only places we've seen so far where people seem actually relaxed.
I was going to say, is there like some kind of like gambling or like game happening at a table somewhere that we know would be like, that would not fly, but that would not, unless there was like a tax on it or something elsewhere.
And maybe some food and health violations in the open kitchen.
I love that, Max. Even like, I love the idea of like company money not mingling except for places like this. So you see a lot of different company like script on the table.
Nice. Okay. So you open the door to a chime. You get assaulted by all of the spices and smells and probably a lot of like the sweat of the workers that are currently inhabiting this place. It almost overwhelms the senses for those of you who have normal human noses. And you see the people inside too. Like I said, it's loud. There's music. Bodies are pushing up against each other. Each, it's subtly jockeying for a position at the stools so that they can get their food a little bit quicker. Now, first what's noting is the owner and proprietor, the person behind the counter, taking orders and running back to the kitchen and so on and so forth, is it's a kind of a large and bulky android. They are definitely like the human variety, or at least the human appearing variety, but you kind of pick up from their mannerisms that they're probably an android in some regard. They don't tend to vocalize. You can see that there's a lot of like nods and pointing and grunts coming out of her. But either way, just managing the chaos in the front is this android there. Now, spread throughout the crowd here are a number of people. I will kind of highlight the most interesting members of the crowd, or the ones that stand out to you as you kind of walk in and kind of take in the scene. Now, first is a woman with like bright red hair that spills out from beneath a yellow beanie. She's wearing a set of like coveralls. And is mostly keeping to herself on one of the stools. Then there is this gentleman that's probably gambling at one of the tables. His skin is like completely dyed blue. He's like Grand Admiral Thrawn looking dude. No red eyes in this regard, but still he's got a bulky kind of space suit on, or at least some kind of environmental protection suit on, and is sitting there just like a constant growl on his face. For a few others, there is a woman, again, sitting at one of the stools here, wearing a similar environmental suit. Seems to be kind of like staring into the bowl of ramen that she has, like a shaved head, closely shorn black hair. Every so often glancing up and around before returning down to the bowl. You see what looks like a Terminator. So an android that has been exposed to the elements, but they have very human looking hair kind of pushing out of the back of their head in kind of like tight curls. And two more. One, you see, if there was like a stereotypical mad scientist, this would be it. He's sitting there, he's got a lab coat on, and just like it's his eyes have been replaced and they're almost bug-like in nature, but it's like this devilish grin seems to be affixed to his face permanently, and he's probably with a group of other people just sneering and laughing loudly enough for you to catch the eye. And then finally, at the end of the bar area, the last stool, it's a woman. At least you think it was a woman. It's a little hard to tell given their pale, almost decaying skin and this two-fist sized starfish-like creature that is affixed across her face, but seems to be up and talking in some regard. You can't quite make out what they're saying, but their mouth is moving and they are, acting. So I threw that a lot at you. A lot of people in here. I gave you some of the most noteworthy individuals. You don't know what your contact looks like. And the door closes behind you. What do you guys do?
Two things. One question to ask you: what does the skill rim-wise do? Just out of curiosity.
In Mothership, rim-wise is a skill. It's like street smarts. Is the way
That's what I was picking
it.
up. I just wanted to make sure that I was correct on my track for that, because it's not one I've ever had before. So I just wanted to double check. And then I mean, you described everybody, and we know the overall tone of the room is like, hey, here's an off the books space, right? For my character, who looks like they are actually like, there's probably competing authorities here, but who looks like they are the most plugged in to what is going on in the space? Like, so not who's in charge, right? But who is the person who finds themselves here for information or to be in the know? Because that is the person my character wants to start chumming up to.
That is a good question. The obvious choice would probably be like the guy I described as a mad scientist.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little too obvious to you. The other one might be the blue-skinned gentleman with a permanent sneer on his face.
Yeah. Does he seem to think he's above people here? Is that like, do we get a sense of where the sneer is coming from? Or is this just, that's what his face looks like? Like he's just
It's probably what his face
sneer
looks like.
forward. Okay, cool.
Yeah. He has seen some shit and it is very obvious.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna pull up next to him and like, what are they drinking?
So this gentleman is sitting in one of the card games.
Okay.
Quick, Max, give me a name for this card game.
Oh God, what a terrible.
What a horrible thing you invented.
The card game is going to be named Grandmother.
Grandmother, perfect. All right, so they're playing Grandmother. It's a high-stakes poker game. There are various chips that are on the table here. There are cards. The cards change over the course of the game, so it's a little hard to kind of lock it down. Maybe you know the rules, maybe you not. But there is an open seat at this table. Somebody,
is it next to this? Is it next to this individual?
No, I'd say it's across from them.
No, I'm gonna like cozy up in a way that like is like so they can physically tell that I am present. Like I don't want to be out of sight, and then but is also not encroaching too much on their space. Like I'm not trying to bump into this person, but I am gonna let the edge of my blazer brush against their shoulder.
Can you see their cards?
If they seem to be overly cautious about their hand, then I'm gonna respect that. However, if they're playing a little loose to anybody who's standing behind them, I will absolutely look.
No, this is definitely like the cards are on the table and he's like doing the little peek rather than keeping them open in the hand the entire time. You can see this is one of those things where his back is to not to the wall, but his forward face is to the door. That's why he's so obvious when you walked in, and he notices your presence like immediately. That small brush on the side, and still paying attention to the game somehow, but also looking at you. He looks up and it's just like staring daggers before you get the snarl. Can I help you?
Oh, I was just taking in the game.
You can take in the game from the bar. And he points, and it's like, across the establishment. So it's
I could. I may in a minute.
and he turns back to the card deck.
And I will shift like 6 inches away. Like I will basically move my weight to my other foot. To show that I respect their desire for space while simultaneously not being like, no, I'm not gonna fucking walk across the room to a bar, you asshole. But I get it. You don't want me right there.
Okay, so you shift ever so slightly, and this gentleman continues to basically ignore you, but eventually he kind of like slams down on the table. He doesn't get up, but he kind of shows his visible frustration. But with that sort of smackdown of the hand, what are the other three of you guys doing? Or people?
Getting a drink at the bar, probably. Just
I was gonna say octopus soup. Humans like this. Octopus soup.
All right, so Margot and Jackson, you kind of worm your way into seats at the counter. I guess it's not really. I wouldn't say it's a bar, but a counter.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if asked if this is something humans would eat, sure.
Oh no, is this a bit? Do you guys just tell me? Yeah, this is some people's favorite food.
Humans eat this all the time.
Yeah. Sounds great. I will order the biggest octopus soup possible.
And it's pretty quick. They do a lot of the service here, so that, like I said, the android that's kind of running the scenes behind the counter, there's probably some additional help here too, but they're not really important. Within like 2 minutes of ordering, it's just plunk on the table. And it's this huge order, and the octopus in there probably isn't like completely dead. So you see it kind of quivering under the water, and it's like a fucking full ass octopus just in this bowl of ramen. And if you look up and down the bar or the counter, I guess there are people eating this. It's pretty common, and they're just like going to town. So it's not in theory, it's not really disgusting or anything, but I believe I said the person with the starfish on their face and the woman with the shorn hair are the two noteworthy people at the counter here. But so as you guys are enjoying your meal, the place does serve drinks as well. It's probably like drink and not drinks. Whatever the drink of the day, the local swill might be. It's cheap and it's alcohol.
Yeah, that's what Jackson gets, and I think he will probably mostly be thinking, how can I use this passphrase in a natural way? So it's
All right. So while Margot enjoys the bowl of ramen, and Jackson, you nurse that drink. What's Clarice doing?
I think Clarice is going to sort of wait for those two to get to the bar. I want to look like I've come in separate, but do go to the same place.
So you just sit next to them, or do you sit further down the counter?
I think I'm going to make my way to the counter further down, but I'm going to bump, like maybe a little too hard, the woman with like the shorn head.
You bump her. This is the woman that's been like staring down into her bowl of soup. She's eating it, but every so often she does like the hunch shoulders, look up, look around the room. It's once or twice you see that happen as you in the very short amount of time that you're kind of in here, and as you bump into her, you get like the space equivalent of the Jesus fucking Christ that comes out of her mouth.
I am so sorry about that. I wasn't trying to bump you. I got pushed.
And she just like turns and looks, and you can see the strain on her face, and gives a breath, goes, "That's fine. It's just a little startled. Please make sure it doesn't happen again."
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Let me get you a drink.
No,
No, it's
that's okay.
totally fine. I'll get you a drink.
And it's sort of like, as you say, "Let me get you a drink," a drink is like plunk down on the counter, like the proprietor was listening.
Yeah, for you, of course.
And she goes, "Are you new here?"
How did you know?
She kind of motions you to come in a little closer. You know how when you go on vacation, one of the things they tell you is not to drink the water?
Yeah.
Don't drink the water.
Oh, I fucked up twice in a row. I'm so sorry about this. I'm clear beans.
She reaches out to shake your hand, hesitates for like 3 beats, and goes, "Sarah," in kind of like a monotone.
Cool. So if we're not drinking the water, what are we drinking here?
Whatever you brought with you.
Oof, that bad. Okay. I mean, it can't be that. I'm gonna drink it.
We just cut over it to Max's character.
On my like 4th already. It's fine.
All right, so
like clearing out the gears or something.
oh man, what is Clarice's tolerance for bad booze?
Oh, not good.
All right, so we get a spit take.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and then we're gonna cut back over to Rachel at that behind the table. All right, so this blue-skinned gentleman is sitting there and very visibly irritated and still like feels you watching. What do you do?
See, like, I understand that may not be fully fluent in the rules here, but like, how is he doing bad?
I would say he's doing pretty good. They're not gambling with like chips. They're gambling with bits and bobs, watches. This gentleman very much has corporate script, and he seems to have a lot of it. So he's got his own little pile that he's using to bet. He's also got a pretty substantial pile of other people's random junk and various corporate script. So he's doing pretty good.
Okay. I turn to the person next to him, right? Since he doesn't want me to bother him, I say, so does he normally do this well? Is this pretty standard?
And so it's next to them is like a really ancient android, and we're talking like C-3PO levels of robot. And its face turns to you, and it doesn't even have like proper facial structure. It's like 2 lights and a slit, and you see the lights flicker, and like a noise kind of comes out of it, and goes, "You can play to find out."
I mean, I couldn't because I asked about the past, and so
The past unlocks keys to the future.
I look at the other player at the table, at least the one other one, and I go, do you like it when he always takes your money?
The other player is like doing bad, and they're a minor. They're kind of like covered in soot and dirt, and sitting there. They got like 3 empty drinks in front of them, and goes, "It's coming back to me one of these days."
Yeah, I mean that's what they always want us to believe.
and you can see him kind of do like a little like basically sign of the cross in jest. It's some other religion and not necessarily like space Christianity, but looks up to the sky and does the little like prayer signal because it's very jovial and sort of mockingly.
I think you're my favorite. So how many seats are there at the table?
I would say there's 4 total here, just because that makes my life easy. And
Yeah,
one of
that's
them's
fine.
empty.
You don't have to introduce another NPC at the table. That's great. I'll go and I'll sit across from the guy now. Here's all I'm gonna do now. I know how much money I have. Like we can narratively establish that as with whatever you want. I do, and I also understand that we're not primarily playing with money, so we can also just figure that out. I want to get in, but I also just want to help this miner win. Like, I'm not playing to win. If I make my money back,
Alright,
great.
diversion.
I just want to sandbag sneer face at this point in time.
Okay, so the that robot like android turns to you and goes, "Buy-in is 100 credits."
And I point at one of the bits and bobs in front of them. I say, "How many credits is that worth?"
100.
I've got 100. Yeah, I mean, I'll buy in for 100 credits. That's fine.
All right, it's not hard to tell that 100 credits is like vastly larger than any other sum that's sitting on the table.
Yeah, that's fine. That's great. I love this.
All right, so you put your 100 credits down. How about we go to the 2 dining at the counter service? What are you up to? And outside of slurping down ramen and bad drinks.
Yeah,
Are we hammered? Is this-
I got the same drink, right? Or
There's octopus soup. There's a couple other food items, and then there is the drink. You know,
It's great.
there's no like IPAs here. It is what they're serving.
I guess Jackson will just be sipping the drink a bit. Probably not. Probably holding it a bit better, but also knowing that he just shouldn't turn over the glass.
You peeking
Still
around
trying to get
uh,
courage to talk to somebody, but mostly enjoying the enormous octopus still in the bowl.
All right, so you see Margot on their third bowl at this point. And if you're kind of looking around, again, it's a busy space. People are coming and going. You look over to the end of the bar and you see like the little starfish on that woman at the end kind of like shift ever so slightly on the face. Again, no one seems to be paying much mind outside of like casual conversation to this person who is actively eating or drinking something. And the song changes in the background. It was like a hyper pop last time, and this time it's like, you know, space death metal that's coming on, and it just kind of like like shakes the whole scene up. And
I'm sorry. One more time. What was it like?
what was it?
What was the space death metal like? Could you give me?
Oh, like, there we
Okay.
go.
It's like
And what was the hyper pop like?
I can sing for you, but it'll hurt my voice, and we got an hour left here.
I feel like with the I'm gonna go the exact opposite route from the teammates, and I'm going to start dancing. Maybe, I don't know, if in my mind I've decided that even if alcohol doesn't affect androids the same way it does, the just like being hype about thinking that I'm participating in a normal human ritual of eating the octopus soup and drinking of the booze, and the like potential uptick in energy, even though it's, you know, I feel like hyper pop and metal are probably similar energy levels, just very different vibes. But I've decided that now is the time. I'm gonna like cause a scene dancing, and this is in an attempt to give everybody else a chance to like see how people respond to me causing a scene. Like, is anybody really off put or like taking note? And so it's both half intentional and half not.
All right,
I'm
so
just
you
gonna get
slam
everybody
dancing,
like,
or are you
yes.
like doing something outside of the purview of space
100%.
death metal?
Nothing that would look appropriate during death metal. Like, there's probably some like old video that I watched at some point of like old styles of dancing has like lodged in there. Like I don't think that I would ever have encountered like a space pit or whatever where people they would be like, no, I'm watching some like dramatic romance some like corporate approved cinema and saw a dance happen.
Yeah,
All
you're
right.
doing a waltz and nobody else.
Yes, yeah, a single person waltz.
It's like a 7/12 time signature song. You're trying to do a 3/4 waltz. Yeah, love it. We will return to that dance in a moment. What's Clarice doing? You still talking to the woman at the counter?
Yeah, I think I'm still talking to the woman at the counter.
And so we can focus on specific conversation in a second, but in the interim, any chat you've had has been met with kind of like stilted responses, very monotone, sort of low emotion, single word.
Yeah. So we're supposed to say it was by the light of the dying star, sun, something like that.
Let me make sure I'm saying the right thing. Yes, by the light of a dying star was your code phrase.
Okay, cool. Well, I think I'm gonna start getting up and be like, well, I'm sorry to take your time. By the light of the dying star, I need to get on out of here.
There is no noticeable response from this woman. She turns to look at you. Well, goodbye then.
Have a good one. Enjoy the soup.
And then she turns back and kind of resumes that hunched look down in there. And you hear like you hear the eye roll.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's the reaction I was going for.
Okay. Now, back to the gambling table. We're going to actually use the game's mechanics today. So
Ridiculous.
Yeah. You are trying to you're not trying to win, grandmother. You are trying to make the other player lose and someone else win.
Ideally,
So-
yes. So mostly I want to sandbag Sneer face. Ideally, I want to throw money towards the minor. Also, for anybody who's never played at a local table game at a small casino or gambling establishment, if you are an outsider, the only thing that the locals do, they don't care about beating each other. They only care about beating you. So there is no way to win in this situation, and I'm going to embrace that. And my only goal is to make the person who is winning right now lose, which is the best you can hope for, in all honesty.
All right, perfect. So under normal circumstances, I would relegate gambling to a luck-based mechanic, but this time you were trying to do something a little tricky here. This is going to be a intellect check, but you do have that rimwise as one of your trained skills.
Yeah.
That'll add 10 to your current intellect score. So you're looking for D100 less than 40, or sorry, less than 49.
Oh wait, hold on. I was like, I always forget that my D100 or my D20 buttons are flipped on my critical machine, and so I'm always really good at mothership. If I forget, that is a 26.
A 26, that is a success. And remember, if I ask for rolls at any point throughout the rest of the session and you guys get doubles, please let me know, because those are crit successes and failures. So this takes place over the course of several hands. Now, Tony, describe how mothership works. Not mothership, how grandmother works.
How mothership works by I did already establish in chat that the biggest hand is called grandmothership in this game. You're trying to get the grandmothership, and so you're kind of like you're tableau building hand by hand. So you're really like coming into the game late, you're already kind of at a disadvantage. And so you're really kind of looking for, hey, can I score a bunch of quick points to get my tableau built out? I'm probably not going to be able to go big by the end of it, but you want to get as many cards down in front of you. Number cards are fine, but you're really trying to build a family tree. Each one of them is good, but queens are really the suit you need in this game. They trump everything else, and you can pick what you want from your winning hand to put in your tableau when you get those. So that's kind of what's going on here. You can also steal cards from other people's tableaus with certain hands, but you're basically building out this pyramid-like structure as a family tree in front of you.
Perfect. All right. This is a secret session to do game design, apparently.
Yeah, Spencer Campbell, way to go start making card games. Look what we just did on stream.
Hell yeah. All right. So, have you played this game before?
I'm familiar with it in the way that like I have played like in like corporate onboarding, you know, that 6 weeks like people would play in the barracks. You know, high school games where nobody quite understands the rules. So I know the terminology well enough and I understand the overall strategies without in any way, shape, or form being an expert at this game.
Okay, perfect. So, over the course of several hands, you have now your 100 credit buy-in is, you know, basically gone by the end of the next 3 hands, but you've slowly watched that pile of random shit and corporate script go from, again, he hasn't introduced himself to you yet, but the blue-skinned individual,
I love it.
it shifts from him over to that grime-covered miner. And the mood is shifting. That scowl is just like burning itself into his face as the funds are shifting from one end of the table to the next. And the miner is having a hell of a time here. He's got another round of drinks. He bought one for the table. And he turns to you and calls you his good luck charm. And the android across the table is just kind of like stiltedly laughing and very much enjoying the situation. Up until the point where that android turns and you see their head swivel towards the commotion going on close to the countertop, and you hear I see they brought entertainment tonight. And all the heads turn to see the waltz that's going on to this space death metal song.
I'm trying to figure out for the blue face guy, because there's a lot of items on the table, right? So money I'm not super worried about.
Sure.
Are there any of the knickknacks that he seems protective of or concerned about? Like, is there one before he looks up at the waltz that he like looks at for a second to check and see where it is? I'm trying to figure out if there's anything on the table that he gives a shit about, particularly.
I would say no, because we had established ahead of time that this is the guy with that the very clean corporate script that he was using from.
So he is
his
using
pile
money
doing.
primarily. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like the equivalent of freshly printed $100 bills that he
Cool.
had on his end. And then it was just the other 2 people's shit that he had collected.
Cool. All right.
So he's like launching that stuff into the pot because he doesn't particularly care about it. It's the money he was after.
Awesome.
But
yeah. So that's fine. Then I focus more on funneling the money out of his hand than I do like this. Like literally, I'm just like, what does this guy care about? Let me take that from him.
Yeah.
I go, by the light of the dying star. She does this every time.
Okay. So we will come back to that in just a minute. How's that waltz going?
Probably very poorly. This is the first time I've done this. I can't imagine that I can't imagine that it's going well of its own accord and of my own skill, but also in the middle of a packed bar. Like, I feel like I might have transitioned at some point into something that resembles a tango just so that I can like push my way through people to go across the room and then push my way back.
All right. So it may not be good, but I think it's doing its intended effect. It is a commotion. Good or bad is yet to be decided. You got about half of the faces in this bar turning to look at you. The conversation kind of dies down. You see a lot of raised eyebrows as you spin about.
I feel like I'm mainly like gonna keep an eye on that. Like I'm gonna like try and make eye contact with the other rest of the crew to be like, I'm gonna keep going. If you guys have your like, give me a signal if you like, you know, find find something. Tell me to stop if you need me to stop, is what my eyes are trying to say. They might not be communicating that particularly well either, but what my dance is saying is up for interpretation.
Are the people around the person with was it the starfish on their face? Could I talk to her now without other people probably noticing?
Oh yeah, yeah. So as you look, first you notice that your compatriot is gone. Like they just walked away, and you turn and see them there dancing the
Well,
waltz all
again,
the way around. But that does conveniently now leave a gap seat where you can scoot over and have a conversation with that. I guess woman is probably a better way to refer to her.
I'll scoot over and I try to gather my courage to make some small talk, and I just in a Shakespearean voice say, "In the light of a dying star, I bid you a good day." And immediately I do a face. Well, that was not what I was going for, but I'll. Nice day here, isn't it? And I'll just start looking into my glass again.
They turn to you, and it's a very slow turn, and the you notice that the starfish has like an eye in the center of its body, and it like swivels and looks at you, and the woman speaks. You see it takes a second, but the smile just kind of like jerks up onto her face. Again, this thing's covering her eye, so all you really see is the mouth. So the mouth jerks up, and she speaks to you what sounds like gibberish. It is very much not like basic or whatever the standard English equivalent is. Whether or not you know other languages is kind of meaningless in this too, because it is alien, effectively. But it sounds receptive. It sounds friendly. Maybe not the response you were looking for, though.
No, so I have no idea what is.
Do you have? Actually, this is a good question. Do you have any like language skills or xenobiology or anything
No.
like that?
The
No, yeah,
union
just-
leader doesn't have xenobiology. Who built this character?
Yeah,
No,
whatever
only-
that splashed out of her mouth is just over your head.
Yeah, I just raise my glass to her and take another small sip.
Okay. You see, after 1 second, that the eye is still swiveling to you. A hand quickly grasps onto glass, holds it for a second, turns, and holds it up, and then turns back and puts it back down on the table.
With my glass?
No, sorry, the glass that was in front of this woman. She was
Okay.
enjoying a meal at the end of the bar here before you approached. So.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a reaction.
Something. Definitely acknowledging your existence. But with that in mind, let's quickly hop back to Clarice. Now that you've left your temporary speaking companion, I guess, behind, you turn to look and see. You see your compatriots out. You see the waltz going on in the center of the room. You see Rachel sitting there at a table gambling at this point, losing apparently pretty badly. And Jackson's down there at the end talking to the person with the starfish on their face. What are you doing?
So we've at least vaguely interacted with all the interesting individuals, right?
You
Not the
got a
mad
couple
scientist.
more. So you
Not
have
the mad scientist. That's right.
you have you've talked to the guy whose skin is either dyed or something happened to him that made his skin blue. You've got alien parasite woman and shorn head woman. I don't know how to describe her. The other three individuals that were sort of noteworthy here were the mad scientist with like the insect eyes that have been kind of grafted into his face. There is the Terminator android that has very human-looking hair kind of spouting out of the back of their head, and there is the very out of place looking woman with like fiery red hair that spills out from underneath a yellow beanie.
That's right. That's right. Okay. I'm gonna repeat the exact song and dance I just did. Bumping a person, apologizing, offering a drink, annoying them, and then
Alright.
leaving to the mad scientist guy as well. We're gonna try this exact routine and see how many times I can make it work.
All right, so you want to bump the mad scientist?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh boy, this is going to be interesting. So this guy, like I said, he is let me pull his name before I do anything else. He is Jesus Christ. I'm reading this. I didn't create this character.
Sure.
I want to read you this line because that'll tell you everything you need to know about him. This scientist has big dick energy.
Yeah, I'm gonna bump him so hard.
So he's not particularly attractive. It's not that. And
To
the
you.
bug eyes are kind of off to me. The bug eyes are kind of off-putting. He's like fiercely bald is probably the way to think it. It's not even like the Picard. It's like shining head type of bald.
Sure.
And he's got like all the confidence in the damn world as he seems to be interacting with presumably some subordinates, talking. He's like sitting there, his chest is puffed up. He's like loudly exclaiming. You don't really know what he's talking about either. But the co-workers are kind of sitting there engaged and what have you. This is probably some happy hour type event for this team of scientists that are on the station here. But you bump into him.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
And I was gonna make this guy's voice really annoying, but that's gonna annoy me. So,
The classic problem.
yeah. He turns to you and puts this like $1 million smile on. His teeth are white and they're perfect. He goes, "Oh, it's no bother."
No, it's really it's my fault. A garçon, can I get a drink?
Within about 3 seconds of you raising your hand for garçon, you see that android that was behind the bar standing there holding the drink. How they got through the crowd and from behind the counter is a little bit of a mystery to you. But you turn, the android is there. But as you reach to grab the drink, you notice something's missing. As you pull the drink over and turn to hand it to the scientist, you notice that the woman at the bar that you spoke to previously is no longer there. It's just her bowl and cup left over. But with that in mind, you know what? I think this is a good opportunity to take a quick break.
Oh no. All right, cool.
It is great. We're going to take a short little break. We're going to hydrate. We're going to dehydrate. We're going to rehydrate and be back in just 1 minute. By the way, everybody tell us in the chat while you're waiting, what do you think the drinks we're drinking taste like? And what color are they?
Tony, I really thought you were going to ask what people in the chat thought was under your hat.
Yeah, if you're in the chat, you know what? You can also guess what's underneath my hat. It's not what you think it is.
Uh-oh.
We'll be back in just a minute to keep on exploring Outer Rim Uprising in the light of a dying star. Oh wait, while you're out there watching, I mean, if you haven't, you go over to ttrpg.link/outerrimks and check out the campaign because it's great. And you're gonna find something on that page that you're excited about. At least one thing, and then hit back and get that thing, or get a lot of the things if you want to. If you got any backer money left over, head over to rpgzine.club to check out RPG Zine Club. Those links are pinned at the top of the Twitch chat and down in the description below if you're watching on another platform. Just a couple more minutes to tell us what you think these drinks taste like. And guess what's under my hat. I mean, we'll give a prize to the winner for what's under my hat also. I mean, you have to guess. Nobody can hear you, Keegan, but they can hear me responding to you. So now I just sound insane. It's great audio.
Oh, you know. Yeah. Oh, cool. I love that.
And we're back here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. By the way, at one point during the last segment, I zoomed in super close on the lower left-hand part of Josh's screen because your cat was in the chair, and Max and Keegan were obsessed with it in chat. But nobody really who wasn't looking at chat knew what the hell was going on. So if you watch this video later or you were watching it now and stayed with us through that, God bless you for one thing. For another thing, that's what was happening. That's what we were showing off a cat. All right. So Eco says the drink tastes like fermented fractal worms. That's the only answer we got. It's a great answer. It's obviously correct. Nobody guessed what's under my hat. Does anybody want to guess what's under my hat real quick? Keegan said my head.
Yeah, I'm going to ask your head again.
Didn't you also say robot guys?
Robot guys?
I think I did say bug eyes earlier.
Robot bug eyes under my hat. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Keegan's got 2 entries. Anybody else want to go in?
I was going to say that the drink tastes like whatever's under your hat.
That's a great answer. Also, Eco says my head, but wrote that meaning Eco's head is underneath my hat.
Yeah.
All right. Here's the last chance. It's a D4. And it wouldn't fall off. But yeah, that's what was underneath my hat. It was a D4.
That's a great bit.
The whole time I put it underneath there before we even started streaming, before that came up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Excellent. Josh, why don't you take us back into the bar?
I love when we just do a painful bit.
All right.
We're tortured. Okay.
Let's
The,
reset.
Ego wants to know what the roll is.
Recalibrate.
It's on the ground. I'll be back in just one second.
Oh, okay, hold on. This is important.
It's a 3.
Woo, 3.
Yeah.
That's gonna play
Doesn't that mean your
important.
character's dead, though?
Do what?
Doesn't that mean your character's dead? It roll on the ground?
If we were playing Down We Go or Through the Void, I would be in trouble right now. But one, you never roll a d4 in any of those. So two,
Not the way you play them.
two, we're playing Mothership. Josh, go.
Yeah, Mothership. Woo. Okay. So, quick summary for those just joining now for some reason. You're on a mission. You've been contacted by a organization called the Light of the Interstellar Way. While details have been vague, they've swiped vital information from the dive and are willing to hand it over to you. They have sent an informant to Le Trois Copains, this the restaurant, basically a place you can get food and or drink. On the mining station of Alexandria 17. You don't know what this informant looks like. You know vaguely what time they're supposed to be there, which is about now, and you know that they will respond to the code phrase by the light of a dying star. So y'all have entered this, committed various shenanigans, and are continuing to do so. So we have God, what did I made the character names and I still can't remember what the fuck they are. Rachel is at the gambling table, trying to drain someone's money, but not for themselves. You have Margot doing a waltz in the middle of the establishment to space death metal. Jackson was just at the end of the counter, currently interacting with, or having just finished interacting with, the woman that had presumably parasitic but unclear alien-like thing attached to her face. And Clarice was doing the bump and talk routine to a scientist with quote-unquote big dick energy. Let's start with that waltz.
I think
Give us the updates. Keep going.
I think since there has been no communication that I should stop the waltz, I'm going to waltz my way over to the Terminator looking nonsense, being like, this is a handsome gentleman, and hold out my hand to ask them to dance.
Oh my god.
Everything I've ever wanted in a Mothership adventure.
You get up to this android again. Terminator face. It's like there's no pseudo skin, there's nothing, but there is, like I said, maybe it's artificial hair. It's unclear, but some human-like hair spouting out the back. And as you hold out the hand, you see the lipless face just perk up in an obvious grin, and a warm, feminine, I guess, voice emanates from, behind the mouth. I thought you'd never ask.
My new boyfriend. Great. I have instantly forgotten that we are on a mission. I am only now trying to do my best to dance. I was not expecting this to work. I was mainly expecting to hold out my hand and then run away in shame. But will follow through and pretend that I have some kind of self-esteem, self-robot esteem, and attempt to waltz with the Terminator to the space death metal.
Now, again, this is maybe not the expected outcome, but they're up and they're moving and they're so confident in this waltz, this unexpected partner that you've found. They just exude charm, despite the fact that their face has no skin.
I mean, I feel like I would find that charming also. Like, I'm
Sure.
not whatever internal charm metric I have going on. I am very happy to let them lead. In fact, it is a relief. I have been trying to figure out what this dance is supposed to be, and if there is a moment where they're like, "Okay, I can do this," I'll be like, "Great, yes."
Yeah.
Completely have forgotten all of the team, all of the mission.
Without so much as an introduction, this Terminator takes the lead, just immediately launching into the walls. They're not very good at it though. So there's bumping into tables. There is the occasional foot stepped on and so on. But the two of you now intertwined, tumble, staring into each other's eyes as you waltz in a step not possible for the time signature of the song. Continuing to twirl around the establishment. However, again, I guess about 2/3 of the people have been looking at you during this time, and as soon as your partner joins you, you get cheers and woos kind of like spouting out from the crowd.
Jukebox changes, space endless love comes on over. It is middle school prom night for all the androids in the bar.
All right. How's that counter looking? If we're going back to Jackson at the counter.
I think it makes sense to. I don't think the starfish person made any more interactions, right? So if not, I'll just scoot over a few seats again and try to talk to the other person, the person next to on the other side, whoever
So
is there.
the counter has sort of not dispersed. There's the noteworthy people have sort of moved away. You've seen it. The woman that Clarice, Jesus, the woman that Clarice was talking to previously is gone. And again, you look over and they're just no longer there. They probably didn't even pay their tab, to be honest, given the fact that the bowl is still kind of sitting there half full and the drink is not touched. Excuse me. Margot has sort of left, leaving that seat open, and you've already talked to the woman down at the bar, and the rest of the people are kind of it's interchanging. Some people are kind of paying their tab and leaving, or you just get a bunch of seats because the attention has now been turned to the show going on in the center of the room here. Now, there are plenty of other interesting people to act on. You could even talk to the bar owner or the establishment proprietor, I guess, if you so choose. But as of right now, not a whole lot of interesting people directly in your vicinity.
I think what I do is I ask the bartender if he can pour me a new cocktail I heard about, which is called In the Light of a Dying Star.
So this, like I said, it's a bulky android looking, at least female presenting proprietor here, where in seemingly omnipresent is kind of like the impression that I've given so far, kind of appearing and jumping and moving about in an efficiency that's not human to kind of be clear about it, but comes to stop to you. You can see this is probably the first thing that's kind of tripped her up all night, because she pauses and takes a second, and then just this hoarse whisper kind of comes out of her mouth, and you can hear it even over the sound of the surrounding bar. We only have the one drink. Before putting the one drink in front of you and then turning to go hail another customer.
I'll just start sipping it again. I was really thought I was onto something.
Okay. Now, quickly back to the poker table or the grandmother table.
Forming my tableau. I'm not doing. It's a pretty decent late game tableau, but the other guys is 90% there. He's just surged ahead of Sneerface and like stole his Queen of Gears. So we're all like super like, okay, what's gonna happen? This is gonna be a pivotal moment in the game.
Okay. So
But I also just said the password in front of 3 people. So yeah.
They're engrossed in this game. You've spouted out the phrase code. No one seems to take mind other than that, the droid looking individual looks over at you, pauses for a moment, and goes, "Newbie, you are almost out of credits."
Oh, well, I mean, I've played a few times before, but I'm no expert like y'all, and I point at the blue sneer guy to drive home the point that he is also now losing, and so
And that kind of prompts him to, like I said, this is just, it's gone from a sneer to a downright like teeth clenching angry face as he's now pulling from his stack of cash here. And he goes,
Grandma don't like that. That's probably why you're not doing so good.
and you get that slam on the table again, and he goes all in, and he shoves like a wad of cash just into the table.
That's great. I love it. So in Grandmother, as we all know the mechanics of Grandmother. There is an outside chance when you're in the position I am. I've never done it before. I'm not even sure how to do it. Called Great Auntie, which is like when someone else goes all in. If you're in the third generation position, you can match. And if you can take that hand, you split the winnings with the grandmother, right? Like your siblings, and so you split the pot. And so that is the move I'm going to go for now.
All right. So,
but it's super risky because we could put all the money back into Sneerface's hand.
This is the intense move. I'm going to have you roll for it, but we'll come back to it in a minute. I will set you up for what the roll is going to be. Sure. This is another intellect. You're trying something tricky. Another skill check. It's going to be at disadvantage, though, due to how rare
of a position I have put myself that I find myself in, obviously, because we all know the rules to Grandmother.
Yeah.
But get those dice ready. We will come back to find out the results of that in just a moment here. But we go over to Clarice. You have just bumped into Scientist Gentleman. You've turned to get them a drink, and you've realized as the song switches and the partners join in waltz, that the person you were just talking to is no longer present, and they probably got an open tab because their food is still there and that untouched drink is still untouched. What do you
do? I hand the mad scientist the drink I just ordered him.
Anything else?
I think I'm just gonna be like, sorry, by the light of the Dawn Star, I need to get out of your way. I'm gonna head back over there.
So he graciously accepts the drink. He's got this big grin on, and oh, you didn't have to do that. Thank you. And he puts the drink down, and then you go, by the light of the dying star, I'm going to get out of your way. As soon as he hears that phrase, his face goes ultra serious. That smile just disintegrates, and the words out of his mouth, by the solar winds of the gathering storm, he pulls out a small device from inside his jacket and clicks it, and you see his compatriots, the 3 other individuals, the co-workers sitting across the table from him, just kind of like freeze and stop talking with a neutral expression on their face.
Good. What was I supposed to respond to that one?
And that charming demeanor is kind of gone now, and you hear the amateurs. Sit down.
Sit immediately.
Okay. All right. As you sit down, what's happening with that waltz?
I was like, did you sit in his lap? But that's fine.
Not yet.
I feel like I am like happy in the waltz, and possibly, I don't know. Maybe I've noticed that there is like that a mood. There has been a small vibe shift in one micro section of the space, but largely I'm like, but great, they have it under control. I'm gonna I'll keep an eye out. But I'm too charmed. I'm too charmed. And I have read a lot about how humans feel about something called romance, but this is for sure my first time experiencing it. And so it may.
All right, you're lost. You're doing your own thing. The song is still playing. It's like Tony had said, it switched to very prom
My
song.
endless love.
Yeah, that. Okay, so the tone is shift. You've picking up on it, but you are continuing to be enthralled in your dance. Real quick, Jackson, you were at the opportunity to kind of survey the area now that the bar is kind of cleared out and people were watching it. You also pick up on that tone change. You see your compatriot there, Clarice, talking to the mad scientist looking person, and you are at just the perfect angle to see all three of the quote unquote co-workers just kind of like sit there and put a neutral expression on their face for what was previously like a laughing conversation. What do you do?
Yeah, I try to sidle over a bit to the table thing to listen to what's happening.
So you shift over there to kind of get an earful. Okay.
I think that's the plan. Yeah.
Do you sit down at the table? Let's say it's a booth. They probably have enough room if you squeeze.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's join.
Okay. So, Clarice, you were talking to that scientist. They've switched. The mood is completely different, and Jackson kind of wanders over and tries to sit down in the booth.
Yeah, I'll shift over and let him in.
Okay. So you get the oh man, because the guy's got like bug eyes, so it's kind of hard to read his expression, but you can feel them staring at you as you sit down. Otherwise, a neutral expression on his face. Compatriots of yours?
Yeah. Co-workers.
Co-workers. Lovely. And again, he doesn't say the amateurs again, but it's like you can feel that he wants to. But before he dives in, let's hop back to the grandmother table. Tony, how would you make that roll?
Okay, so I'm super upset about having disadvantage on this roll for one reason, not because my highest roll was 13, so that's great. But never before in Mothership have I ever rolled zeros. And I did for the first time, and it doesn't matter because 13 is what I got, which is a success, and it's a good success. But it's not, I don't get to win super awesome, cool. You decide what happens. Those are two very good rolls, but I'm upset that I had disadvantage on a roll where I actually rolled zeros.
But that is still a success. So, oh man, so sort of two things that happen. Now you said the the great auntie
Great auntie.
roll, not roll, trick.
Yeah.
Gets
Some-
you
s-
half the pot with the grandmother.
with the whoever basically, yeah, whoever, so like whoever takes the pot, like if you somebody, so here's I mean, like, obviously it's your first time playing, I get it. So if somebody goes all in, right, and you're at kind of the later stages of the game, at least everybody has at least 2 generations down on their tableau in front of them, and you're at a point where somebody can take grandmothership and someone goes all in, sorry, grandmother, and somebody goes all in, that's a big ante. And if you match it and go all in also too, that's a great ante. And we all know that a great ante is your grandmother's sister. And so when there is a great ante opportunity, you go all you and the grandmother, the winner, actually split the pot, right? Because you're essentially saying, "Oh, I'm willing to take this person out for my sister." And that kind of camaraderie should always be rewarded by splitting the pot. If there's a tie, they obviously get a little bit more.
All right. So, well, let me say 3 things happen. First, the guy just kind of explodes, not in like a literal sense, but it's like his mood has been souring over the course of the entire game here as he's slowly been losing, and this is obviously something he's very unaccustomed to. And he's not a table flipper. It's more of like he's sitting there, his face is like angry, and he doesn't say a word. He just gets out of the chair and walks away. The second thing that happens is you get half the pot. So you get some sum of credits, but I want you to roll. Do you have a variable dice roller there, or are you set to the standard dice?
I'm set to a fairly standard dice, but I also know how to do math. So unless you're DCCing me, I'm set for pretty much anything.
We don't have the list finished yet, so I was going to say roll a d80, but that's not a standard die.
No, it is not. But that's all weird math.
Just roll d100 and I'll figure out the minus.
Sure. That's still the D20, which I did make sure I didn't hit. That's a 5.
A 5. All right. Okay, so we have special trinkets that we're including in our campaign handbook. You have rolled on the trinket table for some random object that is in your pot here. In this case, a 5 is a neon green Easter egg.
Awesome. I love it.
Eat it.
It's one of those little plastic ones, though.
Eat it.
Yeah.
Don't eat it. I don't know.
I like hold it out. Like, is this like to make sure this isn't like somebody's valuable family heirloom?
I would like to be dipped and eat it in a drive-by dancing moment. Like just drive by just as it's held up. I would just like to be whooshed by.
All right. So you're holding this up to see if the other 2 players
Like, is
are...
this important to either of you? Like, type of thing.
Yeah. And in that moment, as the words escape your mouth, Margot, just a quick whoosh, grab and pop into the mouth, followed by
never
a
mind.
resounding, echoing crunch of plastic. The green egg is now gone. It was apparently empty too. So, no nougaty center, just plastic.
It tastes like the octopus soup.
And then it's gone.
What is
Okay,
air
now-
but the nougat of gases?
I would buy that shirt.
Oh boy.
New
so-
campaign stretch goal.
Hey. The third thing that happens is as our gentleman walks away from the table, now neutral expression on his face, he walks out the door. You hear the little ching ching. The door closes on the frame. Within a few seconds, you hear a second ching ching as the door opens. And in walks two individuals. They wear body armor, more of like a vest type of deal. And you see just emblazoned on the front of it the corporate logo for Knuckles Co. The two of them stand just inside the threshold of the door, turn and look and scan around the room. The room itself, you can feel just goes not quiet because there's still blaring music, but it's like everyone holds their breath in one instant before the two guards go and sit down at the counter. Now, over at that table, we have Clarice and Jackson shoved in with 3 drones and a mad scientist. And if you could see the shock and surprise in his bug eyes, it is apparent. Again, he was in the position of facing the door so he can kind of scan the room. That's part of the reason why you saw him when walking in. But you hear the chime, you see his face perk up, and then like the shock just kind of hits it. It's not that he goes white or anything like that. It's just immediately obvious in terms of emotion. And a small, oh shit, escapes his mouth. What do you do?
I'm stuck on the inside of this table. So, Jackson, what do you do?
Yeah, not trying to get any attention on us, of course. Yeah, what do I do? Maybe I slowly stand up, trying to block the view of the guards on the scientist dude, while just sipping my drink.
So you just stand in the crowded aisle, effectively, of this establishment?
Yeah. I think it seems like the scientist doesn't want. He responds to these guards going in. So I thought if I try to block their view on him a bit, maybe he feels less scared. I don't know.
Okay. So you stand up, and it would be conspicuous if there wasn't 2 waltzing androids in the middle of the room. Now, this music is still going. Maybe at this point the song changes another time, but you do hear the ching of the doors, and you see the guards enter. This place isn't very big, so it's kind of obvious when they walked in. Your partner is still very confident in this dance. What do you do?
I feel like I'm gonna try and I'm going to keep an eye on the guards, and if they show any sign of causing problems or taking an interest, I'm potentially going to do something very stupid.
Okay. That's an easy option, because as they sit down, one of them stares very intently at you.
At me is fine. I'm mainly concerned as if they take an interest towards the mad scientist or anybody else. Me is good. If they're staring at me, I'll leave them alone. If they're staring at somebody else, I might try and do something terrible.
They both walk in. They walk over to the counter. They both order waters, effectively. One turns to stare at the waltz going on. The shit-eating grin on his face. The other, a little more somber, turns and is now staring out at the rest of the room. It doesn't look immediately like he's kind of zeroed in on anything, but is, looking back and forth across the compatriots that sit there.
I'm going to hope that drawing their attention gives everybody an opportunity to like maybe leave if they've accomplished what they need to accomplish, or like whatever if we have gotten the thing we need to get out without being noticed as getting out. But yeah, if they start like moving towards anybody else, I will definitely try and get in their way.
Okay. So while that's going on, we have Jackson kind of standing awkwardly now in the aisle, blocking view of that table as Clarice is talking to the mad scientist. What's going on at the grandmother table?
I mean, I think me and the minor, my new best friend and sister, are just in like fits of giggles about what just happened. And I feel like the Lure Android is kind of like trying to wax philosophical about like winning, losing, victory, not rubbing it in people. And we're just like, we're kind of jackassly like repeating key phrases after him. Like it's like two sore winners and one person who's like trying to be like, no, we're better than this, and we're like, no, we're absolutely fucking not. And then I'm gonna get up and go grab a drink for us from the bar.
Okay. So as you are sort of making fun of this android now,
No. Well, we're making for the android. We're making for the android for trying to defend
sure.
Sneer Face, really. Like the android's
Oh,
fine.
I gotcha. And so poking fun. There we go. Not making fun.
Yeah.
You get one last retort that's like, well, at least I didn't lose at all. And he kind of like, you watch as it shovels quickly whatever's left of his little pot into it's like a compartment, like it opens up and it's quick and it's rapid, and you hear resounding as they close it before they turn up, and you hear those servos just like and it turns. And if you've ever seen a proper droid make haste, this was it. It's out the door and ching, out into the street.
It's making an intentional choice to leave right now, in other words.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said you're going off to the counter to get a drink?
Yeah, I'll get us a couple drinks.
And the miner there is at this point they're sloshed. They're like 5 drinks in, and kind of like giggles and goes, no, it's on me. And he like waves towards the bar, even as you get up to like go towards
Okay,
it.
well I'll go get him. You can pay for him. That's fine.
Thumbs up. Okay. You head to the bar?
Yeah. And I
do anything there, or you just grab the drinks and head back?
I'm like I like motion for 2 drinks, having at this point probably learned that they're going to come fairly immediately, and so like kind of turn my body so I won't notice they're being set down right away towards the 2 Knuckles Co folks, and I'll just say, oh, y'all just get here.
The one that's been scanning the room turns to look at you and goes, yeah, no shit.
All right. I mean, I was just going to tell you, y'all missed a pretty rare and legendary sight, if I do say so myself.
And what was that?
I mean, when's the last time you saw somebody get a great ante?
When I was in the sanctioned casino.
Oh yeah, how'd that play
up
out?
3 levels. Sucks to be on the other end of that hand.
Yeah, I'm some like not angry, but just like arrogant looking SOB. Like took him for what he was worth.
Suppose there's justice in that.
Yeah. What are y'all up to tonight? Y'all need a drink? My friend's buying. I mean, he's your grandmother, but I'm your great auntie.
And he goes, no, we're set. And he holds up his water.
Oh, I thought we weren't supposed to drink the water around here, but I mean, that's fine.
Local superstition. They'll take any tourist for a ride.
Oh yeah? How long y'all been here?
Long enough.
Long enough for.
He kind of shrugs.
Long enough to be uncertain. All right. Well, good chatting with you.
Do you go back to your table?
I take the drinks here. I don't sit. Like I'm stand talking with my friend who doesn't seem to be in a position to stand.
Okay, so you head back to that table. In the interim, as this is all going on, we go back to Jackson standing there at the front of the table, Clarice sitting in the booth, and Mad Scientist with 3 drones. What are you guys doing?
So you had something to tell me. That was the whole point of coming here, no?
Tell? No. Give? Yes. No.
Okay, and we're gonna do that, or
Um,
amateurs?
we were gonna do that, and you can see his like eyes are shifting back and forth. You can see the focus between
You're so
you
obvious right now. Can we
and-
just get moving?
No, not here.
Oh, I should follow you somewhere. That won't be more obvious.
No, we didn't. We didn't account for the corporate involvement here, and his voice is really low and it's a little rushed. It's a little less confident than it was previously. And he goes, "It is utmost important that we maintain our cover while we are here."
And you couldn't look more suspicious. That's why I'm trying to get us moving.
Yeah, because I'm with you.
You just hear loudly in
How
the
did you
distance-
think this was going to work?
Hear loudly in the distance in the background. No, the guys at the bar are a couple of dicks.
How do you think it was going to work? You come here, we do an exchange and leave after the code word has been placed. There was nothing about the attention that you've brought to yourself here.
Look, I think that droid over there is the one with the attention, and I think that game over there has the attention. I don't think they're paying attention to us. If we could just get moving instead of having a conversation about this for the next 20 minutes, we'd be done already if you just
Let's
handed
get
me
moving.
your shit.
Not here.
Oh my god. Okay.
Here's what you do. I need you to leave. I will stay. In 3 minutes, I will leave with my coworkers, and we will meet you here. And he slides a little like set of coordinates to the somewhere in the asteroid. Do not be followed. Do not tell anybody else you're going here. Do not be followed. Do you understand?
No, I was born yesterday. Tell me again.
Do not be followed.
Got you. Let someone follow me. I'm on. I'm gonna just grab the coordinates off the table as I get up.
And he sighs and goes, "I'm going to trust you." And gets up and pushes past Jackson standing there. And you see the 3 coworkers whoosh, all in unison and slide out of the booth. And the 4 of them leave the establishment. Now, that leaves Clarice sitting in the booth, Jackson kind of standing there. We have the dance still going on, the waltz in the center. The one cop, I guess, is the security guard, I suppose, is very like invested in it. And again, he's like smiling, and it's just, you can tell that he kind of likes going into the underground area here, even though it's an asteroid, but you know what I mean, to kind of to see the sights, quote unquote. And this is very clearly the sights for him. The other one is now like staring at Rachel and the miner there after that that loud comment was let loose. Now, we've set the scene. You can cut the tension in the air with a butter knife. You have a heading, in theory. You have found your informant, but they do not want to hand over the information here. Some of you know this, some of you don't. And there are currently corporate security guards watching you. Now, this can be anybody who wants to take initiative, but what do you guys do?
I think I am not going to wait that 3 minutes I was told to wait. I'm just going to head straight out.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
But I'm not heading towards this court. That's even a little bit.
Yeah,
Just go a different way entirely.
I'm gonna help my friend, the miner, my sister, and I'm gonna kind of like help her start shuffling towards the door, and then like pause when I get right in front of the security guards and be like, "Hey, like, are y'all like y'all know where this person lives?"
One of them pipes up and goes, presumably the drunk tank.
Oh, cool. And then I just like slough my sister off on these two guys. I was like, I mean, if y'all have a place for them, sounds like you can do a better job than I can.
There's not even like an attempt. The miner just like
It's the
hits
floor.
their shoulder and then slides off onto the floor.
Wow.
I just look down. I told you they were dicks.
And so the scowly of the two guards looks down at the now collapsed miner, and then looks up at you.
I mean, I don't know where they live. Y'all said you got a drunk take for them.
No response. They just kind of continue to stare.
All right. Well, I'm headed out.
Okay. So Clarice has left. Rachel follows soon after. Does Jackson stick with Clarice, or do you run something else? What are you doing?
How much did I get from the conversation?
You were right there. I mean, you would have been. You were blocking, but you were like a foot away. So
Yeah, then
you're privy to all that info.
yeah, then I stick with Clarice.
Okay, so Clarice and Jackson, ching, you leave out the door, followed very shortly after by Rachel. Margot, what are you doing?
I think I'm just let them go. This is Margot's end. No, fades into the sunset.
This is where Margot lives now.
Margot is setting up a white picket fence in their mind. I think I will very politely and only slightly suggestively ask if my friend, whose name I don't know, would like to leave with the intention of meeting up with people tomorrow. I am assuming it is late. Like noticing that everybody's left, being like, would you like to leave? And if that is enthusiastic, then I will exit with my new Terminator friend. Whose name I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know if they have a name.
You don't want to know their name? Okay.
You're not interested in exchanging serial codes.
Yeah. Well,
They're gonna exchange serial buses later.
No. Then
I know everything I need to know about them.
Margot and Mystery Android leave arm in arm shortly after the other three. Now, as you guys exit the establishment again, you're in sort of like a think of like Blade Runner, first Blade Runner. Harrison Ford's at that little like noodle station in whatever the fuck city is it, San Fran, Tokyo, down in the little like dirty area, and there's like a bunch of shops and all that stuff that are kind of spread out. This establishment is very similarly set up, despite the fact that it's inside an an asteroid. So as you leave, again, you're sort of walking into effectively a crowd of people. There are storefronts and shops that are kind of set up, tents and, metal shipping crates that somebody's latched together to make a store, that sort of deal. Lots of people milling about. Presumably one of the mining shifts has recently kind of shifted over, and so new people are coming out. So again, you see miners pushing through the crowds. presumably going back to their home establishment or what have you. Clarice was handed coordinates, and it's easy enough to find. It's not too far from here.
I don't want to head that way because I'm worried I'm going to be followed. So I want to head back towards, I guess, our ship.
Okay.
Or at least in that direction. And then
Sure.
instead of me, I have a recon drone. Hey, in my inventory, I have a drone, and I'd like to send it that way instead.
All right, perfect. So we will get to that recon drone in just a second.
Cool,
But
cool.
Jackson, Clarice, you guys are skirting off in one direction. Rachel, you've popped out the door and you see your compatriots, Jackson and Clarice, heading some direction. You don't even know what the conversation was other than the fact that they were trying to leave. Do you follow? Do you go your own direction? What's up? Do we regroup here? Are we connecting?
In my mind, it's the evening time and I'm the odd one out, but I feel like I would just be sending like a little message of like, if you need me, let me know. Otherwise, see you in the AM. Send.
All right, so is Margot out of the picture now? Is Margot going back to?
If they
What
say
role?
they need me, I just feel like we're all scattering. We're being. I have a convenient reason to not be suspicious.
Now, here's the most important question. Margot, are you going back to your ship with your newfound friend, or are you going to some third location?
Some unknown, wherever my unknown name. I'm doing. Don't do this at home, kids. I'm going with them in a different direction. I feel like there has to be some kind of like text messaging. So like once I'm out of,
Sure. Yeah.
once I'm like out of the actual bar restaurant, I'll be like,
we
"Are we
established
done?"
that there was like a communication block within the
Mhm.
Le Très Copain. But once you're outside of it, you probably get like 3 pings on your phone. Your
Like the
single
phone.
communication text device.
Yeah, the phone in my mind. Like, we good? What's happening? I feel like a little text, like check-in. What's up, friends?
Yeah, I'll just respond with like a quick version of like, I'm heading back to the ship. I'm sending the recon drone to the pickup spot.
Not that
It's
you know
it's
that
all
they
just
come up.
emojis though.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay. So quick. Rachel, Jackson, and Clarice, you've kind of grouped back together. You're walking towards the ship while the recon drone is going out. Margot's going to Lord knows where, just following this mysterious Terminator-like android back to their domicile, and
Totally
what have you.
not getting
However, Margot, since you're the last one out, you hear the ping, ping, the door of the establishment, as you see the 2 security guards leave the establishment.
Do they look like they're going in the direction of everyone else?
They look like they're going in the direction of everyone else.
I'm going to, not subtly, because I have decided that my new friend is trustworthy, be like, can you help me with them? Just like nod towards them and be like, I think they happen to be going after, like, I think they happen to be following my friends. Will you, either I gotta go, or if you want to come help, I need to go. Like, I need to deal with it. Like, I'll just be like, I need to deal with a thing and like point at them, fall like in a different direction. But ask, I don't know, to bat my robot eyelashes.
Now, this unnamed companion, this unnamed android.
I mean, you can name it. Margot just doesn't know the name.
No, I think it's more fun if I don't say it. No one will ever know. Gives you again a lipless smile. You see like the teeth kind of shift up, and their hand like transforms into a melee instrument that you know is used in the game Murder Ball.
Great.
And their breathless voice kind of goes out. Again, it's softer than you ever would have expected coming from this face. Oh, I'm always ready.
In my mind, I'm like now and also later, and then also I'm like, and would like to follow them until like potentially an opportunity. Like I'm gonna try and be sneaky, even though it's not my strong suit. I think probably the way in which Margot sneaks is like by looking like they should be there more than not being seen, you know? But like from a distance, kind of follow the security guards for a hot second until an opportunity arises, while also sending a message to the group chat being like, you for sure have a tail.
Okay, so that ping goes out. The three of you kind of walking together. Before we get to that point, that security drone, how does that work?
That's a great question that I was hoping you had the answer to.
Okay, so it's a small little.
Yeah,
or
it's like a
actually, let
small
me
little guy.
Look at what I wrote for this damn thing. Oh, it's a recon drone. That's all it is. Okay, so small little recon drone. Presumably, it's like one of those little
Little like
4 little blades
little
or repulsors
quadcopter or
something
whatever.
like that. Yeah, a little quadcopter. It's got a nice camera on it. Ass quality in terms of video feed, but you can remote control it and it sends out. It's got its own little control. The big question for you is, what type of interface does this have? Is it like you put a cell phone on top of a remote and you're controlling it that way, or does it have some kind of like cyber tech integrated headset type of deal?
No, it's definitely like a phone on top of the controller sort of situation. I don't think I spent a ton of money on this.
Okay, so you've set your drone out and you're walking towards your ship while head into drone, sending it to coordinates. Okay, so as Clarice is doing that, the drone is out. Presumably, you're just kind of like one step behind Jackson and Rachel, and while your head is down into the thing. So
Yeah.
Okay, all three of you get that little group text alert. The bloop bloop. You have a tail.
That's I'll say to the group like, okay, I sort of assumed we'd have a tail here. So let's just let him tail us. We're going absolutely the wrong way. So
Yeah, and we are with 3, they're with 2, right? So we could even split up and see who of us gets followed, and then the third person might be able to go to the right spot. Only then you're the only one that knows what the drone sees, but I do have smoke bombs, just throwing it out there.
All right, so we're quickly racing towards our finale here. You guys have the opportunity to kind of set this up however you so choose. You have 2 corporate security guards, at least as far as you know, following behind. They're mostly following that Core 3 group. I don't think they know that Margot and Mystery Terminator are tailing them as well now. You got a nice train of espionage happening here. But you're headed towards your ship. The drone is going out, and you get to the coordinates. And at first you see nothing. It's like a back alleyway, as a dumpster. There's nobody there waiting for you. But as you zip the camera around, you do see what looks to be attached to the wall, like a bag, small bag affixed with duct tape. And the duct tape is new enough where it looks like this was just placed.
Well, that's great. Can I'll ask, does my drone have a little arm or something?
Do you have a D6 on you? Or even a D10 will work?
I mean, I'm online. I can roll one.
All right, we're going to do Die of Fate. Roll a D6 or D10, doesn't really matter what. Low is good, high is bad.
Okay, cool. I rolled a D6. I got a 2.
A 2. All right. You have a little actuator arm on there, but it's a lot of mainly for poking and prodding. It's got a little bit of a grip to it, but it's not meant for like really picking up things.
Can I make sense of like what's in the bag doing this?
The bag is about the size of, I don't know why this came to mind, like a Crown Royal bag, like one of those little
The
felt
exact
ones.
size. Yeah.
Like a dice bag. There we go. That's more applicable to the hobby.
Same thing.
Yeah. It's about that size. It's duct taped to it. And as you poke and prod, it's got a little something in it. It's not like it's packed full, but there is something solid in there.
Okay. Well, I'll tell the group. Okay, I think we actually do have to lose our tail. Et cetera, et cetera. There's a bag. We're gonna have to actually get over there. The drone can't handle this.
Okay. So quickly, let's, with the time that we have left here, come up with a plan. How do you lose your tail? How do you spend the night joyfully? How does this whole situation come together? What's the plan? What are you guys doing?
Well,
I mean, I don't have a tail. If you want me to just go get it, I can go get it. You guys can
Oh.
throw them away.
That's so obvious in retrospect.
Yeah.
isn't
That's what I was gonna suggest.
I was like, it's less fun. If you want to just ambush them, I'm also here for ambushing them. But I can just walk over if you want.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll shoot you the coordinates.
I'll go like a circuitous walk around and grab it, and then go back to. I'm also happy to then go back to.
Yeah,
To
we can see
hand
what's in it tomorrow.
So that if they follow us, they don't follow me to you.
I'll keep the recon drone high and make sure you're not also being tailed somehow. This is so many levels of potential tails.
I envision it kind of like the in Mission Impossible 1 when they're like going back over and then those two people that were making out over there were also when they like do the backtrack of and I saw the trail, I saw the undercover people here and I saw the undercover people here. It's Prague at midnight or whatever.
All right, perfect. So, Margot, you go and grab the drop. It's easy enough to find. Taped to the wall. Felt bag. You rip it off, open it up, find inside the equivalent of a space thumb drive. Like a data stick. There we go. That's the right term.
I feel like I probably have like a compartment for them somewhere.
Just
my-
plug it into your neck like Frankenstein.
Yeah. So you're looking to access the information or contain it?
No, I don't think so. Just hide. Like I'll just tuck it in a spot
Okay.
and carry it. I feel like
Tuck
that.
it into a spot. Okay. So you have this data stick, presumably important. We can talk about that in a minute. Now, the rest of you,
Don't die.
return to your ship to find additional 3 security guards waiting and milling, not necessarily at your ship, but in the general vicinity. So you have 3 at your front, 2 at your back. Your ship is, like I said, they're not directly blocking the route to it, but it might be a little tricky to get by them unnoticed. They seem up and alert. These 3 are wearing helmets of some form. They still have that Knuckles Co. logo sort of emblazoned directly on their front and carry some form of assault rifle, whether it's like a mag gun, technically, like a small rail gun type of deal. So it works by magnets. Space. What do you guys do?
I mean, I guess Keegan at least is like, I mean, if they tail us to our ship and they see that we tucked in and went to bed, it's not really a big deal. But I'm not sure how you two feel.
Makes sense. Yeah,
I'm down.
we have nothing.
We have nothing to hide.
Nothing to lose but our chains.
Okay. So you take the chance. You walk right past the 3 security guard. Head to your ship and tuck in for bed.
Just having a very normal night. We went to the bar. We came home.
Now, the only thing left that we have to resolve here is that thumb drive. How do you meet up? Do you look at the thumb drive? How does your night go?
I don't think I'm that concerned with the thumb drive for the rest of the night. TBH. Also, I probably don't. I'm at least smart enough to know that plugging in a like super secret spy thumb drive to my own body might be a terrible idea.
Or it might be the best idea ever.
It could be also. I mean, we can do it together as a group in the morning. I feel like my gut says like wake up in the morning and be like, y'all good?
Yeah, let's meet for breakfast.
Yeah, and be like, I will meet you guys wherever. If there's still people at the ship, let me know, and I won't come back or whatever. But if they're gone, then I'll just come back. Maybe with a new crew member.
Yeah, I mean, do we get the sense that are these guys still playing it up outside? Do we have a Knuckles Co. lockdown on our ship?
Doesn't appear so.
I'm gonna go pick up coffee at the Three Amigos, the three bread friends, which is just
So
brown alcoholic swill. But I mean,
yeah,
It's the same drink but a different color.
yeah.
all right. We can assume the four of you reconvene, and we'll leave it at this. However you choose to access the information, plug it into your ship, go to the bar and put it in one of the terminals there, what have you. You're left with scraps of information. Presumably, this is what they were looking to pass on. First is a set of coordinates out in some star system you're not familiar with. Second is information on a particular ship, the CF Sinespera. It looks like a set of blueprints from Dyson Initiative. And you notice that whatever they built into here, their jump drive is different. It's not the same as you've seen. Doesn't look anything like the one in your ship. You can put two and two together. They probably had an experimental jump drive. The third item on this drive, it's a news article from about a year ago. Ship mysteriously disappears during testing. It lists the CF Sinespera. This is some underground news source, sort of broken on the down low, providing a few details on the ship, the rumored experiments that the company was supposed to be conducting, and just wild speculation about what happened to the ship. And the final piece is a recording. The recording is, the metadata shows it was sent, or at least recorded, about 2 days ago. The signature from the signal reads from that of the CF Sinespera. The recording itself, mostly incoherent rambling. But then you catch one phrase. A hunger deeper than the void. And we'll leave it at that.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is me not changing your dramatic ending to be like same though, but
let's do our reaction roll. Reaction roll is a live stream inside of a live stream. It's our chance to sit down with one of the many creators of a collection of games that is currently being crowdfunded over on Kickstarter. Outer Rim Uprising, being published by Eco under the Lost Bay kind of collective collaborative concept. We've got Josh with us, who just finished running By the Light of a Dying Star, Under the Light of a Dying Star. What did we there was stars, they were dying. There was some light, we were under it. This was a blast. I usually wait till the last to say anything. I really like a super fun session. Josh, for people who are joining us late, just joining us, tell us a little bit about Outer Rim Uprising and what it's all about.
Okay. So Outer Rim Uprising, you've kind of hit the notes there. It is a bundle collection put together by the Lost Bay, gathering various pieces from different creators, all with a collective theme of rebellious activity against the corporations of the Outer Rim. I think there's like 20 pieces in there. We've got adventures, we got supplements, we got scenes. We have patches. There is, I think, a cassette tape going in there for the big expanded package, and it's all in one convenient box set. Most notably for this particular session that we ran here is the campaign handbook. This is a document that we're putting together as a means to create a framework with which to connect all of the pieces of the bundles, or at least give you tools to help you do that. I talked about it at the top of when we started this. I do want to now call out how this was created.
Yeah, hit it.
And Tony, I can do that now. Okay, yeah. So, like I said, I spent about a half-hour prep. I wanted to keep it minimal and, like I said, showcase that it can be done with very minimal prep here, given what we have provided. So, the basis for this adventure, the location, Les Trois Copains, is, I believe it was Iko who wrote that one, given that it's got a French name. But that is one of the locations that is included within the campaign handbook. So I went there, I picked, it's literally the first one we have written down. Okay, this is going to be the center of our, our session here. I liked the idea of having to play with code names and exchanging that. So that comes from me, that aspect of it. Meeting somebody with only a code word. The Light of the Interstellar Way comes from the included adventure, The Hunger in Achernar, but Light of the Interstellar Way is also detailed a little bit more thoroughly in the campaign handbook itself. Dyson Initiative as well. So those two factions are ones that you get a little blurb about who they are and what they want to accomplish in the campaign handbook, but they also play a piece in The Hunger in Achernar. Knuckles Co. has its own supplement. I believe it's Marco Serrano.
It is Marco Serrano Spicy Tuna, friend of me and the channel.
Yeah. So the Knuckles Co. zine details the organization. It talks a little bit about who they are and what they do, and gives you a couple of seeds with which you can use to insert them into the adventure. Knuckles Co. will also be sort of briefly touched upon, like a little less detail than that zine within the campaign handbook itself. So again, you can pull up this. It's a mercenary corp, more or less. Toss them in there as your security forces as you need them. And then finally, the NPCs, the weird individuals that you worked with, are all pulled from the NPC card deck that was put together. I believe it's Victor Moreno is the one who's working on that, but they're doing... I think the full deck is 40 cards, each with NPCs. They get a name, they get a little bit of blurb and some personality and some really cool artwork for each of them as well. So I pulled some of the ones that we had available for preview, and those are the folks that you were messing with. Yeah. So again, pulling all that together took me, like I said, about a half hour to do, and then we got 2 hours worth of stuff for it. And this also can roll directly into The Hunger in Achernar as your quote-unquote starter adventure, if you want to do something similar with your own Outer Rim Uprising campaigns.
Yeah, no, it's sorry to bother you. I pulled up the art a couple times during the stream because as you were talking about people, it was like, well, here's what they look like. It was super fun. It has really some great art. I've got it up next to us again. Lots of gorgeous art in this entire thing. But like I said, I really enjoyed playing. Let's whip around real quick and hear from everybody else. Let's start with the dancer under the spotlight, Max Lander. Max, why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play around in Outer Rim Uprising?
Yeah, Max Lander. I make games. Actually, as we were playing, I got the proofs for the latest game that I've made with Aaron, which was a flip book game, and then it's 2 games in 1. So I've been secretly looking at those as we've been playing. Yeah, I had a blast. I'm not usually. Oh, I mean, I'm very frequently the person who derails everything, but I don't usually derail it with romance. What What is their name? Are they the one that is pictured on the Kickstarter page in one of the cards? Because there is a
Most
robot.
likely. Yeah, the robot Terminator looking face with human hair.
Like, is that them? More
Yeah.
details on them. I didn't see the when I first looked at the page, I didn't see the NPC cards, and they look dope.
Yeah, they're really cool.
As I zoom in, I'm going to
this-
say it hands repeatedly. Enhance, enhance, enhance.
Is the image you're showing on screen, presumably Tony, because I can't see it on my end. Does it have the NPC's name?
Their name is, I think it says Amelie Lopez on there.
There we go. Okay, because I was going to ask if somebody else could pronounce that first one, because that's not going to sound right coming out of my mouth. Oh, geez, Amehle.
Yeah,
Amelie?
that's Amelie.
Okay, there we go. Lopez. Yeah, Amelie Lopez.
My
Yeah.
new life partner. Screw.
Yeah,
screw these guys.
They are real quick because, like I said, the back of the cards will have, detailed information. I'll just read this one off because I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So Amelie Lopez is a murder ball star. They are cocky and charming, overconfident, and crave validation. And then we get a little bit of stats for them if you want to use that, and also just kind of their background. Amelie bet against herself and won. But she also won a prize on her head from several crime syndicates. She is a team player, but doesn't mind working hard. However, she has a gambling addiction that she won't acknowledge. Should have been at the gambling table, but it was more fun to have them separate. But
It's fine.
I love it.
Maybe she gambles on dancing. Maybe this is
Yeah.
the new canon. Yeah,
Uh,
So that was that's one of the NPCs, and each one of these that you will have within that deck, if you are purchasing or backing, I guess, the higher tiers, has their own little blurbs on that too. So a few traits that you can use, and like I said, I'm just pulling those straight from the cards. I was reading many of them for the first time in this session, so that tells you how quick and easy they are to use.
Yeah, it's 20 NPC cards at base, and then Uprising bundle tier gets you 20 additional cards. Yeah, no, I had a blast. Max, did you have anything you wanted to ask Josh about the adventure?
No, mainly it was about
What is the name of my
for
lover?
sure. Yeah, mainly it was like, who is my new partner?
Love it. Jimmy, let's go to you next. Why don't you tell people who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play Outer Rim Uprising?
Well, it was fun. That's for sure. Peter, online mostly known as Jimmy Shelter. You can find me at various places now. Too many to call, but all Jimmy Shelter. Yeah, I really loved all the NPCs. I think that's I usually, when I GM, I do have like a list of names and some traits or something, but just having a bunch of cards and just pulling them out, and seems, and the art is also great. So yeah, I loved it. Yeah, I don't have a question really. It's just I think this is a very cool project.
Anything on the page that really caught your eye that we haven't talked about yet, Jimmy?
Yeah, I was in the beginning. I was curious about the cards, and now I'm like, okay, I now understand why they are very cool. It's just looking at the image, I'm like, if I would get a box like this, I really wouldn't know where to start diving into it. It's
That's what the campaign handbook is for.
yeah. I mean this as a good thing. It's like
Sure.
so. Just I would probably have like a stack of all the scenes next to my bed and just going through them one by one.
Yeah, and on that note, that is something that we've been considering. So again, to show the stuff I work on as part of the campaign handbook, one of the introduction bits, I guess that's going to be in the first handful of pages, there is just short blurbs as to what every piece of the larger bundle is. So you can go in there, you flip to the second or third page within the campaign handbook, and you can see them all kind of like laid out as once to make it easier for you to direct your attention.
Yeah, I think there may be some of those images even pulled out to help showcase like what, not with page numbers, but like here's everything that's in it. It's been really cool to just kind of flip through and see what people are working on, but also excited to what some of their past credits have been also too. So Um, I love it. Let's see. Keegan. Keegster.
Hello.
Tell me who you are, what you do, and what it was like to play Outer Rim Uprising.
Yeah, this was a blast. I'm Keegan. Don't find me online unless you do it at +1 EXP, I guess. Yeah, this was a blast. I think every time I've played Mothership, and I think every time I've played Mothership has been on stream. Every time I've played it, it's been like just a very different experience. So I never really know what to expect. And that seems like a really cool bit about this bundle is that just like looking through it, everything. I don't want to say disparate because there's obviously like a connection here, but like it really feels like you could open this box and play like a million games out of it. That's just great. That's not really a question, but
But it's a statement.
it's a statement.
No, yeah. I mean, same thought. Like again, some of my favorite creators, people we have here regularly on the stream, people we don't know also too. Really excited to see that this team. But also I like for me the campaign handbook is really cool. As somebody who like for our counter system to Mothership, no, for Through the Void, like thinking about how anti-canon comes together is something that I feel like a lot of people don't do. So like within the Mothership community, it's very easy to kind of know. And one, he's helping with us a lot, but like in the original edition, it was like here's a game. There is no go figure it out, right? So campaign book really gives you some that connective tissue, but I think also for emerging GMs and wardens, like learning, hey, here are some ways you can connect these resources, start to template and give them the like skill set and understanding of just how you can weave some of these pieces together, but with good scaffolding, which a lot of minimalist and OSR adjacent games like don't do that type of scaffolding. So I do really love seeing that piece specifically added in here rather than just being like, hey, it's a bundle. Here's a bundle, but we also provided the connective tissue, and also, by using this, you will learn how do you pick up two things in Mothership and start to fuse them together by the practice of doing it, if nothing else, right? Like, I don't know that there's explicit pieces in there on here's how you do this with other things, but I love that. I love kind of seeing that and the different art styles y'all have brought out.
Yeah, and so that on that note, the campaign handbook is I don't know, I like to call it my baby, even though we've got basically every other writer also touching it. That's one of the big things that I've just been kind of drilling down is like create the web of information so that everything is circular, everything interlocks, so it becomes easy to start injecting these pieces. Just a quick example, we have a section in there that's we're working on at the moment. It's called Prominent Locations of the Rim, where we in theory will list every single location, like planet or station or what have you, that are talked about in all the parts of the bundle, summarized in a quick we're not trying to like create an almanac or anything of these locations, but we give enough to go off of. So I will talk about one that I've helped out on personally. It's I've never said this word out loud. Broyatov 4. It's one of the planets in They Won't Cage Us, which is the second piece of content that I'm working on for this bundle. That one's written by Tim Overmueller, and I was doing layout and design on it. But so our prominent locations talks about the planet. It says, hey, it's a barren rock, noteworthy for its pale green sky and deep canyons. We got a couple more like sentences in there, but we give a small basic framework. We tell you what system it's located in. If it's a planet, we talk about the atmosphere. And then there are points of interest and factions. Points of interest pointing to either other pieces of the campaign handbook or locations, minor locations listed in the adventures themselves. And then the factions are the people who are connected to it. So this planet here is connected to a company called Derivan Detention and oh geez, this is not English. Proxy Marchandises Technologies, PMT for short. So you get your planet, your short blurb, points of interest to point you to locations for adventure, and then the factions that connect it. And that's just one planet. And in theory, we're going to have maybe 20 of them, each with little blurbs. So you can pick it up. You go, okay, I know who's where. I can look to the other sections to see what does this corporation do in summary, and then start building your adventure just from that little web of information that we're providing.
Yeah, I think like I said, so like just a lot of really great tools. I think my favorite one that we haven't talked about, and we're seeing this a lot more in Mothership right now. I think Christian Sorrell's doing a really great job with it, but I know other people have been too. Is player facing supplements. So Bones on the Ground is the one I just want to shout out here towards the end because Chris is great designer. Get to do some work with them next little bit. But across the Outer Rim, the Android Rights Association organizes infiltrations of company prisons, seeking the clues to assist the ARA in building the Queen Code, which is how Keegan got built. And join the assault on Coning B, a bifold adventure with 3 diegetic flyers. People who don't know what your last name is.
Yeah, I love being doxxed on the street. No,
Sorry.
no, you're good. You're good.
No, I just meant like people who don't know that just think I'm calling you a queen right now. But no, I love player facing assets. I love the in world. Like, hey, here are weird pamphlets, which is oftentimes like in Mothership, your players are finding pamphlets scattered around, but then nobody makes those pamphlets. You just got to figure out what them are. So I love seeing this kind of also done thematically for the Androids Rights Association, and then it being also like a short adventure that can spool into. So just really love seeing that kind of stuff come out of the community. So,
Yes, it's been a fun one. Like I said, I only got my hands in a couple of different parts of it, and then I'm like helping out with promo. So a lot of it I get to be a fan of, and see the stuff that other people are making, and enjoy it naturally, which has been really cool so far.
I love it. I had a blast. People should go back it over at ttrpg.link/outer rim KS. Again, a reminder, what we've got coming up here tomorrow afternoon. We're sitting down at 2 p.m. It was at 1 p.m., but then everybody was like, what if we did 2 o'clock instead? And we all agreed. So we are playing Lovecraft-esque, a GM-less storytelling game of brooding cosmic horror with the folks from over at Black Armada. I'm super excited about. There's also an audience participation for that piece that I'm very excited. Josh just told me about it. We're going to be working in. So come back tomorrow. Join us then. And if you haven't yet, head over to rpgzine.club. Check out what we're doing over there. It's a great way for us as a community to be investing in emerging and expanding creators, helping diverse people get their games in print, especially people who may not be able to access cool crowdfunding opportunities because they live in a part of the world where they're just not allowed to, or because they don't have the skills and the resources or ability to pull all that together. Working with them to get their games out and into the community is what RPG Zine Club is all about. You get cool zines sent to you every month. There's a couple different flavors of subscription, but go check it out over at rpgzine.club. Help support our channel also here too. Oh my gosh, my screen just went black, so I can't figure out what's happening. All right, it's back again. Then that only matters so I can say we've never figured out a good way to end this stream, and at this point, we're not interested in trying. So until next time, we're just going to wave at the camera until I take us offline. Bye, everybody.